This is her roof. People need to know the rules. People need to follow her rules. So don't you think she has to assert some type of dominance? Thank you, Jiggy.
No, I don't think you have to assert dominance. Like, you just don't let people in your space that you don't trust. That's it.
Okay, then you still have to assert dominance. It's not about people you trust or not. Is that people can still be able to, for example, right? You could love your brother or your sister, but don't you think your brother and your sister are still going to try and test your boundaries? Okay, so they might. So how do you think you stop someone from testing your boundaries?
I mean, like, so you're saying you would become masculine when your siblings come to visit?
What I'm saying is, for people to respect your boundaries, you're going to have dominance in your household. You're going to let people know you are the one in control. Because this is your
couldn't
roof.
the same
You're
thing
not
be
going
said?
You're not going to let people run all over you in your house. So from when you get in, take your shoes off. All of these things, you're asserting dominance. This is my space. This is my rules.
Be said about the women who have children and they're living with a man. The man's paying the bills, but they have to raise their children to respect them and dominate the children, as you're saying, and teach them to take their shoes off and all
No,
of
they
that.
don't do that by themselves. No. A mother doesn't raise her children by herself if she has a husband. That's absurd to say. If she's a wife and there's a husband, she's not raising that child by herself. Yeah, she is going to be doing wifely duties, yes, but she's not raising that child by herself. They are talking about how they want their child to be raised. They're talking about what school they want their child to go to.
If she's the ultra feminine, like you're saying, she's not going to work. Her husband's doing that. She's staying home and she's raising the children. So isn't she gonna have to teach them to respect her and respect the home?
Yeah, but but this is it. The man asserts dominance in the house, not the mother. When there's a man, when your husband is at home, he's the one that says dominance to your children.
Yeah, when he is home.
No, he is home. Just because he works,
who's home with the children most of the time. If you're the ultra feminine,
I think you're
stay-at-home wife, like you're saying, who's home with the kids 99% of the time?
She's home, but when the man and the husband live in the same household, so they both are at home. Yes, the man goes to work. But the reality is him just being there, living there, he has dominance that those children are going to feel. Okay, even his own hormones play a part in how they regulate. See, men and women regulate their children very differently. And children need the man's dominance to help them feel more brave, to help them have more courage, whilst a woman helps children feel more loved and safe. So a man's presence is very important. Just because he goes work doesn't mean he doesn't exist. The time that he does spend with those children, he is inserting dominance. Why do you think mothers say, wait till your father gets home? Oh, so you're not listening to me. The child could be not listening to for a whole day. And they say, wait till your father gets home. I'm going to tell your father. The child switches up. Now they're scared. Why do you think they're scared? They were never scared about a lot of children. And you know it's true because a lot of children don't actually listen to their mothers. A lot of mothers have a hard time their children listening to them. Until they say, what shoe I'm going to tell? I'm going to tell Papa who's going to come home. I'm going to tell your father who's going to come home. Then their behavior starts to switch up. Now they're shook. That's not a coincidence.
So I just don't really understand how when the children are home with the woman, much more when she's the mother of the children, they're home with her much more than the siblings that might come to visit the single woman sometimes how that single woman is more masculine than the mother who's having to mentor the children 24/7.
Because the mother has a man who is going to allow her to sustain her femininity. Raising your children and nurturing your children doesn't make you more masculine. Being a nurturing mother doesn't make you more masculine. Breastfeeding your child for months doesn't make you more masculine. Okay? Playing with your children doesn't make you more masculine. Cooking for your children doesn't make you more masculine. It just doesn't.
I don't think any of these things make you masculine. I don't think being single and taking care of yourself makes you masculine. I just think
does, because when there's not a man, now you have a lack. When the man is not present, you have a lack of leadership, you have a lack of a protector, you have a lack of a provider, you have a lack of dominance in the household. You have a lack of a man and everything that he brings. Now you have to do what the men do in your own life. Now you have to work. Now you have to discipline your children. Whilst you would have just been cooking, cleaning.
I mean, we're talking about a single woman. We're talking about a single woman who's just living by herself. All you do is go to work and pay the bill. Like, yes. What are you like having to be masculine for? Like,
because that's not what you're supposed to do. The reality is, as a feminine woman, it's not your duty to start being a provider and a protector for yourself. That's really actually not your duty. You just signed up for it because you wanted to be independent. See, men are forced to have to be independent. Men have no choice but to do that. Women do have a choice. See, a woman can stay at home for as long as she wants until she's married. Do you think a man can really do that?
I mean, not everybody wants to stay home with their parents, though. Like,
and this is why I say they choose to be masculine. They choose to be masculine.
I don't think it's choosing to be masculine, but okay.
It is a choice.
Okay.
Who do you think has to be masculine? Who do you think has to be independent? Excuse me. Do you think a man has to learn how to be independent, or do you think a woman has to be independent?
I think as a parent, your job is to teach your children to be functioning adults.
That's not the question.
So
who has to be?
If you're not there anymore, your children should be able to take care of themselves.
Who has to be?
And you should be preparing them to do that.
Who has to learn how to be independent? The man or the woman?
Every adult. Like, obviously it's good to have like a support system, and have people to rely on.
Who has to learn how to be more independent, the man or the woman?
If you're asking me who should be masculine, then the man, but I don't equate being independent to masculinity.
Okay, then. So who has to learn how to be a protector and a provider?
Protecting and providing over a family, that's typically the man's job. But if you're a single woman, protecting and providing for yourself, then that's just you taking care of yourself.
Okay, then. So don't you think a man having to learn how to be independent is how he's now going to practice how to be a protector and a provider? Without the man being independent, how do you think he's going to know how to protect and provide?
How is he going to learn that? I mean, if
he's never done anything in his life by himself, how do you think now he's going to learn and have the courage to be a protector and a provider if he doesn't even understand independence?
The men from my observation, the men that are the best protectors and providers grew up watching this behavior modeled for them. So it's second nature to them. They got taught
He's never done it before. But he's never done it before. So
Yeah,
he's never
but
practiced. He's
like,
never practiced it. He actually doesn't even know what it means to actually say, I'm living by myself. I have responsibilities. He's never done it before. So how do you expect him to do something he has no experience in doing?
the same way I would answer if you would ask me, how is a woman who's never been a wife going to know how to be a wife? The best
No,
wives
no,
saw a wife
the woman
growing up,
has
so
experience.
they know how it
The woman
goes.
has experience though. The wife has experience. What do you think she does at home? Do you think she just sits in her bedroom all day?
I'm saying, how does a single wife
No, no,
know
no.
how to just become a wife one day because she
That's what
saw
I'm
a wife
asking you.
growing
That's what
up?
I'm no. She didn't just see. What do you think she's doing at home? So don't you think she helped cook? Don't you think she learnt recipes? Don't you think she helped her mother? She didn't
Right.
just
So
sit. She didn't just sit there. She didn't
if a
just sit
girl,
there. So
let's put this
hold
into
on, hold on, hold on.
perspective.
Do you think she just sat there all day in a bedroom, not helping her mum do anything in the house, not learning one single recipe, not cleaning?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. She grew up seeing
Okay,
this.
no,
She
no, no,
knows
not
how it goes
seeing. She was
already.
doing it. That's the difference. She was doing it. She was
Okay.
doing all of the wifely duties with her mother. She wasn't
Yes,
just
she
sitting
learned
there.
from her mother. Exactly. That's
Exactly.
what I
So she
said.
was doing. So how do you expect a man to learn how to be independent if he's just watching? He has to go out in the real world and do. Just like the
I mean,
daughter was
his
at
father
home.
would have taught him. That's what I said.
Yeah, no. You see, you asked me a simple question. You said, how does the woman learn how to be a wife?
Right. The same
Do
way
you
a
think so? Do
man
you
learns
think she
how to
just
be a
sits there?
protector and
Do
a
you think,
provider
hold
and a
on, hold on,
father.
hold on. Do you think she just sits there and watches her mom do everything? Or do you think the
I
mother
never
says,
said that. Like, I
okay, then,
literally
so
never
I'm
said
asking
that.
you, okay, then, so how does she learn how to be a wife then?
So let's just like use your masculine theory, right? So a girl grows up seeing her mother be a wife, observing, having the hands-on experience. She goes away to college, she lives on her own, and then she's suddenly masculine, but then she gets married, right? And she's still masculine, or until she gets married she's masculine, or she lost everything she grew up
I asked
learning.
you, okay,
Being a wife,
are
she's
you
suddenly
answering
no
my
longer
question?
wife.
This doesn't even make any sense. I
She
asked
suddenly
you,
no longer has wifey
how
qualities.
does she learn how to be a wife? So what your answer is, she watches her mother.
Yeah, that is the answer.
Okay, then. So
But you're
that
saying if
doesn't
she
that
moves
no
out before
that
she's married and
hold on,
she's
hold on, hold
single,
on. You said she learns by watching, but that's not how she learns. That's not how she just learns. Her mother gives her duties in the house. She says, help me cook, help me clean, help me do the laundry, help me do the chores,
yeah,
and
she
talks her
learned
through
from,
so
yes, she
she
learned from her
doesn't
mother. I said that.
so she doesn't just sit there and watch.
Okay.
That's the
So she learns
point.
from her mother and she goes away to college and she lives on her own before she finds a man and
No,
gets
so what
married.
I'm
Is she
saying is,
masculine?
wait. So what I'm saying is, she doesn't just sit there. She does. She's actively doing what
Okay. So
wives
she
do
she
at
did all this
home.
stuff as a child and then she moves away after college. She's masculine now.
No, I said when she goes to college, she's not independent. When you
Okay.
live
So after
in a
college, she moves away.
hold on, Kim, hold on. When she lives in college or university, she's not independent. Okay? But we're going back to, how does a
But
man
who's
know how to
protecting
be
her? Who's protecting her?
literally the authority at university?
Okay. So after
She's not
college,
doing that all by herself.
she
She's literally paying to be protected. She's literally
after
paying.
college, yeah, she's paying for college.
Yeah, but
So
they give her the money.
after college, she gets a job and she gets her own
After
place.
college,
Now she's masculine, even though she grew up learning
now
from her
she's being
mother.
masculine, because if she was truly feminine, then she would move back home. If she was feminine, she realized, okay, I got my degree, I'm going to move back home and work on whatever I'm working on. That's what a real feminine woman actually does. They go back home until they find a husband to do the providing and the protecting for. They don't just go out and do it by
I
themselves.
think that's your perspective, but not everybody wants to do that, especially when they don't have to. Like,
Of
not
course,
everybody
because
wants to
they're
live with their
masculine.
family. Not everyone wants to live in the town that they grew up. Some people want to explore. They get a job in a different city. They want to see the world. Like, I don't understand like how it just makes you masculine, even though you grew up with a feminine mother teaching you how to be feminine. Like, that doesn't make any
Yeah, when
sense.
you grew up, when your mother taught you how to be a wife, you was at home. So you're not. This is it. When
And you just
when
lose
you
all of that one day when you move
because
out.
you're no longer because now
You
you
lose
are
everything that was
practicing.
instilled in you
Yes,
overnight.
because now you are practicing masculine traits. You are no longer. See, when you lived at home, your parents provided for you. Your father provided for you. Your father protected you. Your father gave you a roof over your head. So you never had to go out and get a job and pay rent. You never had to protect your mother. You never had to do any of these things. You never had to assert dominance in your house. So now, when you move out and be independent, now you are starting to practice these traits that you actually never did. Your mother taught you how to be a wife. Your mother taught you her recipes. Your mother taught you how to be nurturing. She taught you how to be caring. She didn't teach you how to be a provider and a protector. She didn't teach you how to get the bag. Your mother didn't teach you that. So now, when you choose to live by yourself, you are now starting to learn all these masculine traits that you actually never was taught.
If you say so.
That's the reality. If your mother is teaching you how to be a wife, do you think she's gonna teach you how to pay bills? Or do you think she's gonna teach you how to know how to cook? Just the basics.
I think your parents should prepare you to be a successful adult if they are no
That's
longer
not the
there.
question.
That's
I'm
their
saying
job.
is if the mother is teaching her how to be a wife, is she gonna say, hey, you need to learn how to pay bills? Or is she gonna teach you, hey, how can you be able to sustain a healthy family first? Which one?
She should teach you both because both of
I'm
them
not
are
saying
important life skills.
no, you're not listening to the question. It's not that she should. If she's teaching you how to be a wife, what do you think she's going to teach you first? How to handle money or how to sustain a healthy family?
Well, you answered it with the question. You said teaching you how to be a wife, but if she's teaching you how to be an
Okay, then.
adult
So, no, it's not. No, I'm not
that
talking
can
about being an
sustain
adult. But
yourself,
I
then
never
she should
said
teach
being
you
an adult.
everything.
Did I say that? Did I say being an adult? Or am I talking about
No,
being
you
a
didn't
wife?
say it. That's why I said you
Okay,
answered
then.
your own question.
So then she's not gonna teach the daughter how to pay bills. She's gonna teach her how to be a nurturer. That's the difference. Whilst if they had a son, then the father's gonna teach the son how to pay bills, money, being a provider. Say, you know what, son, if you want to find a wife that you want, you're gonna have to learn how to make all the money. That's what she's gonna teach. That's what he's going to teach the son, not the daughter. Do you think the mother's gonna ever tell the daughter, you are going to need to provide for a man?
Provide
Do you
for a
think the
man?
father, do you think the father's gonna teach her daughter to provide for a man?
No. I said
Exactly.
take care of yourself.
No, I'm
Everyone
not
should know
talking.
how to take care of themselves.
We're not talking about taking care of yourself. She knows how to take care of herself. It's very simple to get a career, get a job. Okay,
That's
that's
what I'm
not hard.
saying. It's very
All right,
simple,
then.
and that should be basic. I don't see how that makes you masculine because you know the
So
basics.
it does make you masculine
No, it's
because
literally
now
the
you're doing it
basics.
for yourself. It's not. The reality is when
If you
you
don't
live
know how
by
to do that,
yourself.
I would be concerned.
No,
That's
everyone
literally
knows how to
basic
do that.
stuff.
But the point is, when you live by yourself and you don't have a man to sustain your femininity, you will begin to lose it. You are not going to be feminine if you've lived by yourself for 10 years, 5 years, and just providing and protecting for yourself. If you really think you're going to still be feminine,
Protecting
then
from
you are.
what? Like you're acting like there are like burglars like trying to break in
But they
every
are.
night. Like what?
But
Where are
they
you
are.
living? Where are you living?
It doesn't matter.
Maybe
It
that's the
actually
issue.
doesn't matter. No,
Maybe
it's
that's the
not the
issue.
issue. See, this is the reality, is that you females don't want to accept that when you begin
Now
to
I'm a
be
female.
independent, when you begin to be independent, you do begin to be masculine. Because you don't have to be masculine. You don't have to be independent. You actually don't have to be, but you choose to be. You choose to live like men. You choose to work like men. You choose to provide like men do.
So you live with your parents and then you feel like you're more feminine because you live with your parents. Is that what this is?
It's about sustaining your femininity. So what happens is you're no longer doing the duty of a man. You're no longer trying to be career babes, get in my bag. You're no longer having random men come into your house.
I don't know who said anything about random men. Like,
But that's what usually
I think this is just
happens.
a
You do
lot
know
of
that, right?
projection. I
It's
don't
not
know
projection.
who these women are you're talking about, but this is
Why
like.
do you think that a lot of females are having ABs at a higher rate? How do you think that's happening? Do you think they're opening their legs in their parents' house?
I think it's just legal now.
So that's the point. They're having more intercourse. So this is not just random.
I think it's happening more because it's legal now.
Yes, I understand that. So
Right.
it's happening more because they're having more intercourse. That's why. The more intercourse they're having, the more likely they're going to unalive an unborn baby. So the reality is, females are more likely going to have intercourse when they are independent. They're more likely to be in situationships when they are independent because they have that freedom to. If you lived in your parents' house, the truth is you'll be forced to not link up a guy unless he's your husband. You are not going to bring a random dude in your house. So the likelihood of you being in situationships, hooking up, actually decreases.
Okay. I mean, there are plenty of women who don't let anybody come to their place, so.
That's not what the stats say, though. So what do you think they're doing? Would you say more and more females are living by themselves more than ever, or do you think most of them are living at home?
You said, are most females doing, what was the first one?
So do you think females today are more likely to be independent and have their own place or live at home?
Actually, the stats say that people are staying at home later in life. Like, people are living with their parents into their 30s now, and the age just keeps getting later and later every year because of inflation, and people can't buy homes anymore. So.
Okay, so that's a lie. I could believe that.
So
they
everyone
can't
is just
afford.
moving. Everyone is just moving out the second they turn 18. That's just a lie.
I
I'm
never
sorry.
said that. I never said the second they turn 18.
Okay.
But the reality,
Well, the stats say that
but the
because of
reality is,
the
hold on.
crisis-
But the reality is there are more females who are independent and living by themselves. There's more.
Okay. I mean, yeah, the stats say that people are staying home with their families, having roommates later and later in life.
But they are more likely to live by themselves, not stay at home.
A lot of people can't even afford to live alone. That's what the stats say.
A lot of females are living by themselves. A lot of them don't live at home. A lot of them don't. That's how they get into debt. How do you think they get into debt? Why do you think females have the highest debt?
I think that people who are able to live alone, that's a privilege. I don't think that's like
not a privilege.
anything
You just have to.
hate
You
on.
could. That's not a privilege.
That is a privilege because a lot of people couldn't even if they wanted to. They literally could not even if they wanted to. So.
But they are. How come females today are buying homes more than ever?
I don't know how to even answer that.
So are you saying no. But let's be realistic, okay? Females today are buying homes than they ever have before.
Okay, well, a FIFIL is just a word you made up, so
Yeah, I
like
don't.
that's
Yeah,
like I don't
stop.
even know how to
Okay,
respond to
answer the
that.
question. Answer the question. Are females not buying homes more than they have before?
I think FIFIL is just like an archetype of woman you made up, so let's just say
Okay, I
yes.
don't. Okay, then yes. So the reality is, there are going to be more that are going to live by themselves than the ones that are going to stay at home.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Honestly, because the reality is, right, if they stayed at home, that's a different conversation. Yes, they are sustaining their femininity, but majority are not sustaining their femininity. Majority live by themselves. Majority finish university and get their own place. They're not
Okay.
staying at home with their mothers and fathers. That's not what's happening.
Yeah, most people wouldn't want to stay with their parents if they don't have to.
That's the point. So they're not sustaining their femininity.
I I guess not, according to you.
It's not according to me. Majority of them are not
I
getting
mean,
married.
basically what you're saying
It's
is
not according to me.
if you're not
It's not
staying
according
at
to me.
home,
Let's
then
take a
you're
look at
gonna
the
be
reality. Let's take a look at reality. Are they getting married?
so according to you, if you're not staying at home with your
No, no, no,
parents,
no. Are
then
they
there's
getting
nobody to
married?
watch
Are
you.
they getting
And
married?
because
You're
there's
saying
nobody to
according to
watch
me, are they
you,
getting married? Are they getting married? Are these females? No,
according
it's
to
not according
you,
to me. I'm asking you a question. Are they getting married? Because you find it hard to believe that when they become independent, that they are not masculine. So, okay, let's say that's true. Let's say, hey, these independent females are feminine. So why aren't they getting married if they're so feminine?
you're asking me why people who move out after
No,
college, why they're not
why are
married? I don't
independent?
know.
Why are
I
in?
don't know how to answer
How
that.
come independent females can't find the man that they want?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. Their standards are too high. I think that's what you said.
I never said their standards are too high. That's
Um,
not I haven't actually said that.
because their body count was too high.
Okay then. So you don't know. That's fine. At
I
least you
mean, what
admitted
is
that.
even a
Is
female? Like, this is just a made up word.
because they are masculine. The reason why independent females are not getting married is because they're masculine. Okay? For example, let's take a look at Tracy Ellis Ross. Why don't you think she has a husband?
I don't know. Why do you think?
Because she's masculine. So the reality is, these independent females, you see according to me, but it's not according to me. Let's take a look at the results. By 2030, majority of females are going to be unmarried and childless. Do you think that's just a coincidence?
So female is just a word for a woman then.
Female means failed female.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of reasons why the rates are declining.
Okay, then give me one.
Because you're saying why the marriage rates and the birth rates are going down, because a lot of people in the earlier generations, they were getting married and all of that out of necessity. And plus they could afford it. They could afford to buy a house and have kids and all of that stuff. People can't afford it. So, yeah. And
Are
women,
you
and then the
so? Are you
women that
saying that
can afford
majority of
to live by themselves, they don't need to get married out of necessity.
okay? So are
So
you saying
they don't feel the need
majority?
to rush and settle down. Like,
Okay, then. So you gave me two reasons. So are you saying majority of these Fefails are actually brokies? Or are you saying majority don't have to get married for necessity? Which one is it? Is it that majority are brokies,
why
or
are
majority
people
are
not having kids?
Or no, I'm talking about the kids. I'm saying getting married. So is it that majority are actually brokies, or majority just don't need a man? Which one is it? Which one do you think is the majority?
I think that they don't. Nobody needs a man. You can want one, and then if you find one that you're compatible with, then great.
Okay, then. So majority are financially secure, is what you're saying. So majority are not broke.
No, most people are not financially secure.
So majority of Fefails are broke.
That's
then.
why I said
so
most people are
majority of
not buying
Fefails.
homes.
So
That's why
hold
the
on,
rates are
hold on.
going
So
down.
majority of
That's what I said.
Fefails are broke, is what you're saying.
I'm saying we are in an economic crisis, and people are staying home.
Okay, then. So
later
majority
in
are
life
broke
than ever before.
All
That's
right,
what I
then.
said to you.
So
yes.
So if you're saying majority of these
I'm not
Fefails
saying
are
majority
broke,
of people are
but that's
broke.
but that's not. But
yes,
no, we're
most people
talking about the
cannot afford to
majority.
buy
We are
homes.
talking, Kim. We're talking about the majority. I asked you a simple question: why aren't they getting married? And you said because they don't. Because financially,
I said there's
a
a lot of reasons.
Okay,
So,
then I asked you to give me one. And the first one that
and I
you
gave you
said is,
multiple.
hold on, the first one you said is because it's not a necessity. No, because they can't afford to have families, they can't afford to buy a house. And then the second one was, it's not a necessity. So then I asked you, are majorities broke or are majority financially secure? Because I'm talking about the majority, I'm not talking about a small percent. So I'm trying to figure out why majority of these independent Fefails are not getting married.
I think it's a case by case basis. I can't speak for everyone.
No, there's always going to be a majority. You do know that. There's always going to be.
What do
There's
you
always
think
going
the
to be
majority is?
a majority.
What do you think the majority is? Let's just start there.
Honestly, I think the majority are very masculine. Majority are very masculine. And a lot of ways you can also be masculine is not just being independent, but is being in and out of different relationships.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
do you think
definitely
the majority
that's
of Okay, well,
yeah, go on.
okay, let's start from a different angle. So, marriage is controlled by men, right? Because the men have to ask you to marry. Do you think the majority of men are in a position where they can afford to marry a woman right now?
Of course. Men have always made more money than women.
So you're saying the majority of men can afford to settle down and have a child right now?
Yes.
That's
Other
not true.
nations, no, that is true.
It's less now than ever before. That's
That
what the
is true.
statistics are saying.
Yeah, but okay. I understand that, but they still can be. How come other nations?
So that's another factor right there.
Hold on. No, majority of men can. Okay. What it is that majority of these Fefails are not wifey material. So they're just choosing not to. Men are choosing not to marry Fefails. Men are choosing not to approach Fefails, not because they can't afford to. It's a choice.
So you started off by saying that these women have these standards that are too high because they want men in the top 5%, and there's only so many men like that, and it's unrealistic because they have such a high body count. Now, the average man can afford to settle down right now and provide for a family to make you the ultra feminine woman so you don't have to be masculine and pay the bills.
What do you understand about those two?
How does that make sense?
It does make sense. Majority of you Fefails claim that you have these high standards. Meanwhile, you live a low standard life. And that's how you accumulate all these bodies. That's how you become masculine, because you actually don't follow anything that you say you want. That doesn't change the fact that men can still hold on. That still doesn't change the fact. But that still hold on. But that still doesn't change the fact.
Standards. It doesn't actually exist. They're just talking.
Yeah, majority of Fefails talk. What did you think? Majority of them love to talk. The ones who actually follow a high standard, the ones that actually live a life where there's actually standards, are married. The ones who actually have high standards are married. They're not in the streets. Those are the ones who we can actually see living a certain life.
I don't know why you think like every woman that lives alone and can pay her own bills is just sleeping around. Like I think that's what you think in your mind, and like the only way to stop a woman from sleeping around is for her to live with her parents. That's basically what I'm gathering from this conversation.
Yeah, no, I think you're a little bit confused. I said the likelihood of a woman who stays at home with her parents to sleep around decreases. Doesn't mean she's not going to do it at all, but it definitely decreases. Now, the reality of these Fefails having a high body count is definitely much more higher because of the sexual liberation. Okay,
I mean, if the only thing stopping you, if the only thing stopping you from sleeping around is the fact that you live with your parents and they're going to hear you through the
it decreases.
through the wall, then I don't know if that makes you much better. If that's the only thing stopping you,
I never said it makes them much better. But the reality is they do have a lower body count because they can't be able to live a certain way. That's the truth. So they are less exposed to certain things. That's just the reality. But Fefails definitely are much more promiscuous because this is what they wanted. What do you think happened in the 1960s?
Do you think the only reason a woman would want to live alone is because she wants to get smashed every night? That's basically what I'm hearing.
I never said that. But what I'm saying is she's definitely going to smash more nights than she ever has when she was living with her parents. It increases. Don't you think, Kim, don't you think this is what they fought for? What do you think they fought for in the 1960s? What do you think the second wave of feminism was?
What was it?
It was sexual liberation. They wanted to do what men do. They literally said, we want to be able to sleep around like men do and not be judged. How do you think contraception happened?
How did it happen?
It happened in the 1960s when they were protesting about opening their legs and never being judged for it. So yes, they are definitely engaging in hookup culture because this is what they fought for. They wanted to be community boxes. This is what they wanted. That's literally what the sexual liberation was about. It was about opening their legs.
Okay. I mean, I think that the women that are sleeping around that have these high body counts they're talking about will just find a man that doesn't care and live their merry life, honestly. Like,
okay, I'm just going to quickly acknowledge some super chats. So we got from downtown, he sent $5 Thank you. These Fefails will work hard to buy a home, move in a broke, dusty Tyrone that can't even afford to buy her a doormat. Facts. They love talk about high standards, but look who they sleep with. Derwin Walker sent $3 Thank you. Said yes. Dark Lake sent $10 Thank you. Point is they can't afford to live on their own, but they still are. Irresponsibly. I don't get how there's such a pushback when what women are doing is obviously not working. That's why a lot of these Fefails have the highest debt. From downtown sent $5 Thank you. Right. Want Prince Charming but get pregnant by Prince Nobody. Why did that make you laugh?
because, like, I don't know, you guys are like really invested in like these imaginary women. Like, I don't even know who these women are, but it's interesting.
Majority of these Fefails are what make up society in Western society.
Okay.
So I think it's a lie when you say you don't know who they are when they are literally everywhere. They're literally on Instagram. They're literally on TikTok. They are the baddies. They are the pretty privilege. They are the soft girl era. I'm on my celibacy journey. Those are who they are. I don't know why you're...
So
Shocked.
when you like go outside and touch grass, like what kind of women are you running into?
Okay, so when I go outside, majority of these Fefails look like community boxes. When you go to the gym, about 80% of them have leggings all the way up their nyash. Am I lying?
Yeah, that there is a trend of like the scrunch, like booty leggings. Yeah.
So why are you shocked when you say, who are these imaginary women? They go to the gym. We walk into the gym and you see nyash everywhere.
Okay.
These are not imaginary women. Thank you, Diana.
And
These are
so
the.
you're saying that these scrunch booty leggings are stopping these women from getting a man.
Of course, they play a huge part. It doesn't stop them from getting their cheeks clapped, but it definitely does stop them from being a wife.
I mean, I see married women wearing those, so it didn't stop them.
Yeah, she married a simp, but majority are not married. Yeah, I'm sure there's some community boxes out there that married a simp. But how many of them are getting married?
I don't know the percentage of women that wear scrunch booty leggings that get married.
Yeah, majority are not.
Okay.
All the Fefails who are baddies are not getting married. They're just getting their cheeks clapped.
Okay.
The ones who say, I'm in my celibacy journey, why do you think they're in their celibacy journey?
Why?
Because they got their cheeks clapped. And now they wanna close their legs to find a better man.
Okay. And so the celibacy journey is wrong.
Yeah, the celibacy journey is definitely stupid.
Okay. So they should just keep getting their cheeks clapped.
I'm not saying that they should still get their cheeks clapped. What I'm saying is it's quite insulting when you chose to get ran through and now you want the next man to treat you like you're a pure woman. That's dumb. It's like saying, I've been a thief all my life, so trust me with your stuff. Who would do that? If someone has been stealing for 10 years, do you think you're going to trust them with your purse?
No, but I think that there's like a lot more men than you think that just don't care. Like, I don't even think I've had a man ask me my body count. Like, who's even asking that?
They're not going to
So unless
ask.
unless these women are like volunteering this information, like most men are not going around asking you like how many men have you smashed before me? Like, so
Yeah, majority of men are not going to ask because they can already tell when a female has been in the streets. They're not going to ask because the reality is majority are going to lie. But you can definitely tell when she's no longer pure. You can't hide that. Doesn't matter how good. Doesn't even matter if you go to church every Sunday. You are still for the streets.
right. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to introduce the next panelist. So we got A. Welcome. Can you please address the prompt? Okay, I dropped her. It's fine. So the reality is not that they're practicing a celibacy journey. is, why didn't you keep your legs closed before you wanted to be celibate?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
And this is my point. And it goes hand in hand with the high standards. You claim to be celibate when you never actually ever followed any type of standard to begin with. And this is why they are the least attractive. There's nothing attractive about that.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to quickly acknowledge my super chat. Thank you, Eric Jordan, sent $2. Ma'am, you are laughing because you are one of these Fefails. Facts. DMV Entertainment sent $4.99. Said hookup culture came from the rainbow community. Then the modern Western woman picked it up and ran with it. Interesting. I could believe that.
So
Go on, what do you want to say?
So which part makes me a female?
The part where you don't, there was two things that definitely stood out to me. The part that you don't understand how a woman not being a protector and a provider is how she sustains her femininity. And also the fact that you couldn't comprehend that a wife with a husband taking care of her children is still sustaining her femininity.
Well, I was just using, I don't think that taking care of yourself makes you masculine, but you're saying it does make you masculine because you're protecting and providing for yourself, and if your siblings come over, you have to tell them what to do. So I'm saying if telling your siblings what to do makes you masculine, then how is telling your children what to do as a stay-at-home wife not making you masculine? That was my question.
It's very different, and it's not just your siblings. You see, you can take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself and being independent is two different things.
How are those two different things?
Because you can take care of yourself living with your parents. You still have to take care of yourself, you know. You still have to, when you get to a certain age.
So
when you become 18 and you're living at home, at some point you are going to either get a degree, or maybe get an apprenticeship, or maybe get a job, and climb up the whatever career ladder you want. You still have to take care of yourself when you're living at home. You still have to now buy your clothes, do your hair, save money, and plan your livelihood. That doesn't stop because you live with your parents. So taking care of yourself never stops. But the difference is when you choose to be independent, now you're taking on masculine roles. Now you're doing what a man's supposed to do in your life, which is being a provider, being a protector, being dominant. Not just because your siblings are coming over, but because anyone that comes into your house, you are going to have to insert some type of power, some type of control, so no one crosses your boundaries. You don't do that with children. You teach children, you nurture them.
I guess so, but I just think that most women aren't letting people into their home if they feel like they're gonna have to, I don't know, do all the stuff you're saying that they have to do to get them to behave.
No, it's not about getting people to behave. It's the fact that this is your home and you're always going to have to assert dominance. That doesn't change. That doesn't, you see, we're all just human beings, and human beings are going to do what humans do. And they're going to push the envelope. That's what humans do. Doesn't matter if it's your friend, doesn't matter who it is. People are going to push the envelope. So you're always going to have to assert dominance, especially if this is your house. You're going to tell them the rules. And guess what? You're going to have to make sure they follow the rules. Doesn't mean they don't respect you. Doesn't mean they don't like you. Doesn't mean they don't trust you and you don't trust them. It's just a natural thing. You're going to have to do that because this is your roof. You pay for it.
I guess so. So when you're in college and then you're inviting people to your dorm, and you have to tell them how to respect your space, are you being masculine?
This is why I said when you live in a dorm, in a college or university, is very different, because in a university or college, you don't actually have authority over that campus. Well, you do have authority when you do pay your rent. So you do have to protect and provide. While in campus, they literally give you money. They give you money. Yeah, you're going to have to pay back at some point, but you are handed money just so you can survive. So you're not really living an independent life. You have security guards there. Everything is made a certain way to make the students safe. It's literally an accommodation for students to keep them safe. Whilst when you are paying rent, it's not really like that.
So if you live in an apartment that has a concierge or security at the door, and you're a single woman living on the 10th floor,
A concierge and living in a college dorm is very different. It's very, very different. You know, in university, you're always going to be checked on by your teachers. You have more support. In an apartment with a concierge, you don't have that type of support. Yeah, he's security, but he's not really trying to support you in your livelihood and your education. None of those things. He's just there doing his job. It's just very different. In university, in college, you have support and you have money given to you. It's very different. Thank you, Yemen. Thank you, China. Thank you, 4J.
so it seems like the determining factor is paying the bills. That's what makes you masculine.
No, the determining factor is not paying the bills. The determining factor is how long you're doing it for. Because the reality is how long you're doing it for and what you're doing. Those two come in hand, because you don't have to be independent as a woman. You don't have to be, but a man does. Because at some point in it even if he doesn't have a wife, even if he doesn't have children, he still is going to have to be seen as a protector and a provider. He still has to assert dominance to keep himself safe. Women don't have to do that. For example, when a woman is out in public and she needs help, do you think she's going to assert dominance to scare the man away? Or is she going to hope there's going to be a man that's going to do that for her?
It depends on, where she's at and if there's people around, what the threat is. But
generally speaking, do you think a woman is going to assert dominance or hoping that a man is going to come and do that for her?
Ideally, probably she would hope a man would do it for her.
And that's my point. See, a man doesn't have that. That's not a man's reality. A man is not going to hope, I hope a man comes help me. That's not even a man's reality. He is forced to have to assert dominance. He is forced to have to be aggressive.
Okay.
He can never hope that a man is going to help him, because the likelihood of that happening is very, very little. And that's the difference. That's not a woman's reality. More times a man is going to help you. More times, if a man sees you in danger, he's going to try and protect you, and he doesn't even know you. Men don't do that for other men.
So if a woman has to scare off a threat by herself, she's masculine now?
More times, if she's doing it for a very long time, yeah, that's going to make her more masculine, because now she's going to have to be aggressive. If for a good amount of time, you have always had to protect yourself, you are naturally going to be aggressive. Whilst if you had a man do that for you, you don't really have to be aggressive because the man is there to do that. That's a part of him being a protector. He's naturally aggressive.
I mean, if a man is going to be a threat towards you, chances are he's not going to do it with a bunch of other men around. Chances are he's going to do it when the woman is alone. So
Well, that's kind of the point, though, isn't it? That's the point.
Right.
So you're forced to have to now be masculine to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but even
But
if you
when
have
you are
a
with a
man,
man-
even when you have a man, that man is not with you 24/7. So you can have a man, but because you have to fend another man off, now you're masculine.
The likelihood of that happening when you're married is very slim. That's the truth. It's very slim. Because when you are married and when you are a wife, you are gonna do what wives do. You're gonna be around other wives, you're gonna be around family, or you're gonna be around your husband. Your life looks very different compared to an independent woman. It's very different. Now your lives are two different pages. Independent women are more likely to go out late at night. Independent women are more likely to travel around the world by themselves. Independent women are more likely to work late hours in the office. Wives don't do that.
So if you work and you're married, does that make you masculine?
No, I wouldn't say that makes you masculine. And the truth is, she's that's still not gonna be her reality. So, example, if she works a little bit late, guess who's gonna pick her up? Most
She's gonna
likely her
drive home in
husband.
her car.
Maybe her husband will. Guess who's gonna have her location? Her husband. She already has a support system. She already has someone that knows her location or might pick her up. She has someone that knows where she's at. And the likelihood of her working late as a wife is not that high. Because she's still a mother as well, especially if she has children. Yeah, there's no such thing as I'm gonna work late. That's not really gonna be her reality.
There are a lot of women that work late.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the likelihood of majority working late as a wife and a mother is not that high. A lot of times mothers will have an earlier shift. They will take their kids to school or daycare and then go to work. They're not gonna be staying up late. That's not really a wife and a mother's reality.
I don't know. I know a lot of nurses that work overnight.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, but I'm saying majority. If you're a wife and you have children, you will have more. You will have more of an advantage to change your shift hours. And even still, there's going to be a man that's going to make sure that you get to A and B on time. And if you said, hey, husband, can you come pick me up? He will. He's not going to leave you. He will pick you up. An independent woman doesn't even have that. She doesn't have no one tracking her. She doesn't have no one making sure that she's A and B on time. And she doesn't have no one that she can certainly call to say, can you come pick me up? I'm worried. I'm a bit scared. It's a bit too dark outside. She doesn't even have that. Okay, I'm going to quickly read out the super chat. Thank you, Eric Jordan. Sent $2. Also, what's diabolical that you would defend delusion? Facts on facts. Thank you from downtown. Sent $20. Even when my wife and kids go out to the malls and go shopping on the weekends, I have to work. Even though she had her pew on her, I'm still worried because don't use this word, but to a predator, they still look like lunch. So a man is always on duty for his wife. That never changes. Independent women don't have that. What, are you going to call your mom? Hey, mom. You can't. What, are you going to call your dad? That's not their duty anymore. You're supposed to have a husband. So this is how they become masculine throughout the years.
I mean, like, if you just graduate college, you're expecting the person to move back home. They go to work like a single person. They just go back home to their parents. They basically are living the same life as the single person that you're saying is masculine. So the only difference is they are not paying the bill. So they're not masculine. Like, I don't really see, like, what the difference is.
So you can't tell the difference. So you don't think a female who's independent and lives by herself is living a different life to someone that lives with their parents? You can't see the difference?
I mean, the only difference is you think that the single person must be getting smashed every night. That's the main difference to you.
That's not the main difference. What? I've just literally been explaining to you the difference and you still don't get it?
Yeah, but if you're living with your parents and you're working because you just got out of college, you're driving yourself to and from work, and you're going home, you're just going home to your parents. So you still have the same opportunity to be attacked and all this other stuff you're saying with no man there to save you.
Yeah, no, you have your father, you have your parents now, because now you live in their house. So you literally, because when you live with your parents, they are now your protectors. They are now your providers. They are now the ones who are going to make sure that you get to A and B safely. They are the ones now who are going to track you. You know, when you live with your parents, it's very different. You can't just do whatever you want to do either. You can't do that in your parents' house. So most times you're going to have to follow their rules. A lot of times you may even have a curfew. But I'm just going to introduce the next panelist. Welcome, Pretty Intellectual. Can you please address the prompt?
Hello. Women with high standards are the least attractive. I'd say that I think they are attractive to the least amount of people, but that's their intention. I
I
don't think their
agree.
intention is to be attractive to a large
Hold
majority
on,
of
it's not
people if
open
they have
panel
high
yet.
standards.
Sorry,
Right?
can you
Like,
repeat that, please?
I don't think their goal is to be attractive to a large majority of people if their standards are high, because that's just simple numbers. If my standards are high, I know there's a small amount of people that I will be attracted to. So I also know there's a small amount of people that will be attracted to me. I don't desire to be attractive to the majority because the majority are bums.
That's
I'd
exactly what
rather
I
just
said.
simply be attracted to a small majority because what, you only need one person, right? So
Yes,
I kind of
but
have a hard time seeing why I need to be attractive to most people.
yes, but
Exactly.
even the minority don't find them attractive. Even the minority,
She
because
has
really,
this
hold
idea,
on,
like,
Kim, I'm speaking. I don't understand how you're talking when I'm talking.
okay, go ahead.
So even when you listen to these females, even the ones, even these females who are dating these so-called high standards, somehow they still are just getting their cheeks clapped, never getting married, and being left in the streets. Why do you think
Where do
that
you,
is?
I guess where do you get that information if when you have high standards, you're probably giving yourself access to less people? Like what if we're speaking about high standards, I'm taking your statement at face value, which means this woman truly has high standards. She's not
She's
faking
talking
it, she's
about
not
fake
fabricating it.
standards. She's talking about
Exactly.
people who
Like if
don't
she
really have
truly
standards.
has high standards, she's not giving out her body.
Exactly.
Okay, but majority of females claim that they have high standards. So majority of females don't have high standards. That's the point. That you're literally telling me what I'm saying. Majority of the ones who say they have high standards don't. And
Then
that's why
that's
they are the
not
least
real. That's not real high standards then. That's what I said.
I know we're stating the obvious. That's the point. So majority of Fefails don't have standards. Majority don't have high standards. That's why even the small percentage of men that they choose to open their legs to don't want them. The ones who do have high standards are married, not single and in the streets.
What do you think, pretty intellectual? I don't know. I think you're
So I'm
talking
gonna
about.
say this. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this. I think that like number one, Remnant, I would consider you to be a logical woman. And I just want to ask you, where are you getting your information from exactly? Is it the internet? Is it like chronically online? What is it?
Let's take a look at the stat that I'm hoping majority people know. By 2030, between the ages of 25 and 44, over 40% of these Fefails are going to be unmarried and childless. So that really just shows you that a lot of these standards that Fefails love to claim they have clearly is not working. Clearly, they're not even living up to. Clearly, these men don't want them. Majority of Fefails are going to be childless and unmarried by 2030.
But you also know that of the younger generation, Gen Zs, less of them are even having SMECs, women in general. So if you're admitting that essentially statistics and statisticians and projectors and forecasters are stating in 4 years we're going to have a decline in births, right? We'll be childless. The majority of 30-year-olds will be childless. Then you also have other statisticians saying, hey guys, less women are having SMECs with men, period. Then you also have other statisticians saying there's a lonely man epidemic. Then you also have online the manosphere is growing because of the growing number of incels. That is quite literally all of those things together is telling you young women are standing on business. They're doing exactly what y'all been begging for them to do. They're closing their legs. They're choosing better. And they're not giving
how
these
are
men
they choosing?
access.
Okay, how are they
One
choosing?
second,
Hold on. I have a
second.
question. I have a question.
Can I finish my
How
point?
are they? Hold on. How are they choosing better? Because you're saying they're closing their legs. Meanwhile, the AB rates are still high. How are they closing their legs if they're still unaliving babies, unborn babies at a high rate? How are they closing their legs if over 50% of Fefails are on contraception? So they're not just doing it for health issues. Clearly, they still are getting their cheeks clapped. So how is that a factor? How is it that majority are unaliving babies but keeping their legs closed?
Well, wait a minute. Aren't you guys also the ones who say that the most women are only even having sex with 20% of men anyway? Do you believe in that statistic?
I asked you a
80% of
question.
women are
It seems
having.
like I asked you a simple
Well, no, you
question. I don't
asked me a
mind you
question in the
asking
middle
me.
of my statement.
Yes, because I can. I understand. I'll let you finish here and there, but you just made a claim that, hey, they're doing what men told them to do. So I'm trying to understand where did you arrive there? How did you arrive there when majority of these Fefails are unaliving unborn babies?
So once again, that's not a majority, right? Once again, that is misinformation. What is the statistic that tells you that AB rates are on the rise? Are they on the rise? Is that statistically correct, or did you get that from redpill.com?
If you take a look at BLK Fefails, they have the highest AB rates. And the reason behind that,
projections.
Hold on. They have the highest AB rates compared to every other Fefail. And if you take a look at why they have it, is because they're having unprotected intercourse without contraception. So clearly, they're still getting their cheeks clapped.
But you just said they were using contraception just now.
Yes,
Which
but
one
I'm
is
talking about
which?
I'm talking about the Come on. If you are
You
unaliving
just said
unborn,
they're taking a
if
bunch of
you are,
ABC
She did just say that. She did.
I gave 2 points. I said they are on contraception and they're unaliving unborn babies. So clearly the ones who aren't on contraception have to go to the clinic. It's just that simple. If you're unaliving unborn babies, then majority are on contraception. But the ones who aren't are on contraception. Today, a lot of them are using the clinic as even a form of birth control. So I don't know how you're confused by those two. Yes, Fefails are on contraception, and yes, some of them are not, and so they're unalive their unborn babies.
So is like the purpose of this live to distinguish yourself from other Black women? Is that what this is?
Yeah, I
I don't know
understand
if
you're
Remnant is a
triggered.
Black woman, Kim.
Yeah, I understand you're triggered, but this
No,
is
because
not.
I
It's not. It's
think
not.
you said
It
because
has. It's not.
she asked you like where did you get your information from that AB rates on the rise, and then I'm realizing you're talking about Black women.
I never said. I never said it was on the rise. I'm saying it's still high. It's not
Okay.
low.
But you're just saying in comparison to other races of women.
AB rates are not low. They are very much high. Higher, different question. And then if you take a look at in the BLK community, it's the highest. So I don't know where they're closing their legs.
So the purpose of the live is to distinguish yourself from other Black women because you're not a female.
It's nothing to do with me.
So here's the thing.
It's nothing to do with me. It's a prompt.
I think that if your litmus test, right, for high standards in a woman is one that's married, you've already gone wrong. See, the thing is that men are easier than women. Men are easy loot, right? If a woman quite literally lowers her standards all the way to the ground, she could be married tomorrow. Because there's some kind of bum who will go to the courthouse, y'all will get married, and he could cheat, and he could be outside every single day, and she could just sit by and say, I'm married and I have high standards. So you're already wrong if you're using marriage as the equalizer for high standards. That's my problem with your premise here. Because I think that there's multiple examples of women with high standards. There are women who are married to a man that she actually chose, wanted, desired, courted, and got married to him in a timely fashion. And then there's women who are single because they intentionally choose to be single because they realize that a lot of these men are not up to the caliber that they want them to be. There's also women who are with high standards who quite literally decide to go to a sperm bank and be a solo parent because they don't want to deal with a man, period. So there's multiple examples of women, and then there's women who I already mentioned women who are single. So there's multiple examples of women with high standards. So if you're saying the only example
She
is
said
to be
that if you're a
married,
single woman and you're living alone, that you're masculine. She said you can't be a single woman and live
you can
alone.
be masculine and have high standards. Like what? What are we talking about?
Yeah,
Those things are
I
not
never said
synonymous.
that.
Again.
You're confusing what she's saying. You know, so when you
No,
take
that's
a
what
look
you
at
said. That's what you said. That living alone as a woman and
but that's
paying
not
bills
what
makes
that's
you
not
masculine.
Kim, but that's not what Pretty Intellectual said. She said you can be masculine and have high standards. I said that's not what I said. I never said you can't be masculine and not have high standards. I never said that. So I'm just trying to get
I'm saying that you said that living alone.
Kim, you're confused. Okay, just please. It's okay. It's all right. You are confused. Now, I wanted to talk about the AB rates because Pretty Intellectual asked if it was getting higher. And if you look at gotmatcher.org, whatever you want to do your research, it's gone up since 2023, it's gone up 65%. In 2020, it was 53. 2017, it was lower. So really, it's just getting higher. So I don't know where you females think that they're keeping their legs closed, because they're not.
So once again, well, first of all, where'd you get that statistic?
Gotta do your research.
Well, no, you have it in front of you. Just tell me the
I
website.
literally said it, and you
My
didn't
apologies.
catch
I
it.
was packing out my chicken. What
That's
you
not my
did?
fault.
I was unpacking my lunch, my groceries. Anyway,
I was nice
fine,
enough to
fine.
even say it the first time.
You know what? That's okay. You don't have to do labor for me. I'm just a lowly, low standard woman. Um, okay. So if that is the case, I still don't feel like that disproves the point that women are still closing their legs, because that has also been studied. So there's a very high probability that if the birth rates are getting lower, right? It means women are either A, abstaining from sex, which studies do support, or B, they're getting rid of the child, which studies support. But either
Okay,
way,
then.
that supports the birth rate being lower, right? So that's one side
Yeah,
of it.
that's the birth rate. Yeah, birth rate has
Then,
nothing to do with high
no,
standards
I
to
get
some
it, but
extent.
you had
Yeah.
brought it up. You brought it up. You said 30-year-olds childless, blah blah blah. So I'm just saying, like, that goes into it. Then there is a growing population of women who are also just choosing not to try to be with men, period. The divorce rates are increasing. Women are leaving marriages. They're not wanting to be tied down to men anymore. Actually, in my opinion, deem that to be higher standards, because women are walking away from situations that don't serve them, or abstaining from getting into situations that don't serve them, period.
Yeah, no, I
And let
disagree
me,
with that. That actually shows they never
well,
had high standards to begin with.
well,
The
no, no,
fact
no.
that
I
you
mean,
got
the thing
into
is
the
that,
fact that you got into a
okay,
marriage that wasn't serving you anymore, which I think is ridiculous, because it's not about
wait,
serving
what?
you. It's about being in a union. But the fact that you had to destroy the marriage because you couldn't vet properly already proves that you never had high standards.
It doesn't
And
mean
on
that she
top of
didn't
that,
vet properly. It doesn't mean he was terrible. It means that the marriage doesn't serve her anymore.
yeah, exactly. So that she never had so she never actually got the standards or lived up to the standards that she wanted to. So she chooses to end her marriage. She was never the Fefail or the woman that had these high standards if she has to end her marriage to get that. And being single definitely does show that they don't have these high standards, because, and it shows that they don't have high standards because of all the stats that we mentioned. But on top of that, it also proves that they are the least attractive, because how come the men that they want don't want them? How come the men that you so clearly say need to live up to these standards never want these Fefails?
You do realize that that's not true, right? Like, you do realize that quite literally, men don't want homely pick-me's. They don't. That's why a lot of times homely pick-me's are online yelling and screaming at modern women. Men, unfortunately, in society, they want what they can conquer. So oftentimes when a woman is easy, that would be a pick-me. That would be the one, oh, master, I just want to cook your dinner, wash your feet, and wash your clothes, and be here, and be home barefoot and pregnant, and do all the things that you want me to do. They don't want that. They want the woman who is the boss babe and out there, right? That they feel they have to force into subjection. That's why you see these men arguing
So why
online
aren't
with
they getting
feminists,
married? So why aren't they
because
getting
they do
married
not
then?
desire those men. They don't
No,
desire
the men,
them.
the men that they want, the men that they want. I'm not talking about the men that they don't want. That's silly.
What I'm saying
Why
to you is
would
they
I?
don't have
Why?
access to those
Hold
men.
on. Why would I talk about the men that they don't want? We already know that majority of these Fefails don't want majority of men. We get that. But how come the men that they do want don't want them? Because that's really the important part. The men that they do want, they come across these men. Some even sleep with these men.
But who said that the women want these men and want to get married to them? That's my question for
The
you.
ones.
Where are you getting
Okay,
this information? There's not a
majority
lonely
between
woman.
no.
There's not a
That's
lonely
a lie.
woman epidemic. There's a lonely man epidemic.
If you take a look at the stats, right? It says that between the ages of 18 and 39, majority of Fefails actually do want to be in a marriage. They actually are looking for relationships. But when they hit 40, now that changes. A good 75% after in their 40s are no longer looking for marriage. But before they hit the menopause phase, Before they hit the menopause phase, they were looking for a husband. They were looking for a high value man, an affluent man, or whatever man they want that clearly they can't get. So there definitely is a large portion of females out there who do want a man. The man that they want and can't get them. So you're claiming that these men want them. Why aren't they married then?
Do you agree that a higher percentage of men are married than women?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
Do you agree that there's a higher percentage of men that are married than women? Like men have higher marriage rates than women do.
Yeah, I could agree to that.
Then how are you saying they're not getting the women? I'm confused. If men have a higher marriage rate than women, that would mean there's a higher rate of eligible men getting married. How are you saying that these women are not getting the men?
Because majority are not. So yeah, men are still going to
because the majority of men are not eligible.
No.
They're not in the high standards category.
Hold on. Majority of men aren't getting married. Doesn't mean that they're not getting married more than women. Yeah, they're still going to get married more than women. Yes, because men are the ones who hold the keys to marriage. So if they want to get married, they will just do it. Whilst a woman, if she wants to get married, she can't just go and do it. She needs to find a man who actually wants to do it with her. Now, the reason why I say majority are not getting married, because once again, by 2030, over 40% of females are going to be unmarried and childless. That doesn't stop men from finding their wives when they want to find a wife. But it definitely does stop a lot of these females, and clearly is, to find the husband that they want. So how come over 40% of females are not only going to be childless and unmarried, but majority of these aunties as well are freezing their eggs? Why are aunties freezing their eggs? You didn't want a man. You didn't need a man, but you're freezing eggs for a man.
No, they're
Where's the
freezing
man
eggs
to crack them
they're
eggs?
freezing eggs for a child. Do you hear yourself? They're freezing eggs for a child. They're not freezing eggs for a man.
They're choosing to be a single
they're
mom.
freezing eggs.
No.
As I just said, there's plenty of women
So they're choosing to
who
be
want
single
children
moms.
and decide to be solo parents.
Yes, but
That
majority
is
are
what
not
they
choosing.
decide to do. If they're freezing their eggs and they're going to a sperm bank and getting the sperm and fertilizing the egg and implanting it in their body, then yes, they're quite literally choosing to be a solo parent.
Okay, for example, you got someone like Ebony K. Williams who chose to, get a go to a spunk bank to find a child or a baby, whatever, right? Until this day, she's still looking for a man. So yeah, they maybe choose to be solo parents because they can't get the man that they want. How do you think you arrived there? Let's be logical about this.
You're not being
naturally,
logical.
No, let's be logical. No, you're not being logical because naturally as a woman, naturally as a woman, having children is a natural thing. Going to these spunk banks, going to freeze your eggs is a very unnatural thing to do. What do you think pushes a female to go to that extreme? What do you think really pushes her to do that?
A desire for a child, and a lack of desire to be partnered with a man. It's quite simple.
Because she couldn't find the man that she wanted.
No, you cannot add a condition that you do not know. That's my problem with your
condition.
One second, that is because you're male-centered, Remnant, and you cannot possibly imagine
I told you the
a life where you do not have.
If you take a look at CDC,
you cannot add subjectivity to something that you cannot prove. You're saying that they're doing this because they cannot find a man, but you have not completed a study.
Because majority
have
of
not completed a study to prove that.
If you just take a look at the stats, you will clearly see. If you got to do your research. I'm not your secretary. But if you just take a look, it's all there. .org, Pew Research, CDC, it's all there. And you will see that between the ages of 18
Wait, are
and
you just researching the United States? What about the UK?
oh yeah, it's definitely in the UK as well.
What are the
Fefails
organizations
exist.
in the UK? Because you sound
Fefails
like you're
exist
just
on
talking from
.gov.
redpill.com.
If you take a look at .gov, it's all there. Majority of the stats in the UK are in .gov. So don't
Wait
worry,
a minute.
pretty.
Hold on. So you are a woman in the UK looking up US stats.
I'm talking to someone from US, so I'm gonna bring up the US stats. If there was a UK Fefail here, I will bring up UK stats. But the reality is, a lot of you Fefails in Western society are failing. So don't worry, the US ain't that special because they're just as much of a failure in the UK just as the US. You don't have the crown for the failures. They also got the crown for it too. So don't worry about that. It still applies to both countries or states, whatever. They're all
Okay,
being
so
a bunch of community boxes.
so you're telling me the CDC reports that women are community box. That's what you're telling me.
I never said that. What I am saying is, though, between the ages of 18 and 39, majority of these females are definitely looking for a husband. When they reach the menopause phase, that's when they say, I don't need a man. I don't want a man. I wonder why.
So let me just say this one thing, right? You are assigning your perspective and your lived experience to perspectives and experiences of women you've never met. And that's just a very emotional thing to do, right? And here's why. If you are saying that there's a certain amount of women who, when they get to a certain age, they decide they no longer want to be partnered, you're applying the condition that they couldn't find a man. You do not know that, and that is your presumption because you can't imagine a world where you would not want a man. So therefore, you think when I see this statistic, it only has to be because these women could not find a man. When I would venture to say that these are the same women who are speaking to young women nowadays and saying, when I was young, I was too worried about looking this way, trying to be this way. I got to a certain age, I decentered men and I realized they were not the center of my universe. And I started being happy with myself, right? Which is oftentimes why nowadays you see more younger women saying, hey, let's focus on decentering men and centering ourselves and our best interest and focusing on us. That is what I would think would be the shift. So I think that your perspective is just simply a very male centered one where you just cannot imagine a world without men being at the root. And that's okay. A lot of women come from that space. That's why you do see a lot of women when they get to a certain age, they decide they come to the realization, I don't need this from a man. I was always told I needed this from a man. My mother told me I needed it. My grandmother told me I needed it. I'm now realizing I do not. And then their minds change. So I think like when we're trying to assign what women feel to statistics, you have to also decenter yourself because you and I have very different worldviews, and I would hate for you to speak for me when you're speaking about stats.
Okay, so I'm not speaking for you, but if you feel like I am, that's not really my problem. But even if you take a look, more than 8 out of 10 young unmarried women want to get married. That's 86%. 86%
Okay,
of
let me look that up.
unmarried women still want to get married, still are looking for a husband. So I'm going to quickly just acknowledge the super chats. Eric Jordan, thank you. Said, good luck trying to get him. Your standards are unrealistic. Yeah, they'll never get him. Thank you again, Eric Jordan. Still ain't choosing right, and Pookie clap your nyash. That's all Pookie does. They get their cheeks clapped by Pookie and then say they're looking for a high value man. A Dragonfly, thank you. Said men have standards too. Of course men have standards too. But a lot of these females don't want to admit that. See, men have standards when they're looking for a wife. But when they're looking for a community box, you don't need any standards. That's where they forget. Eugene still, thank you, sent $5. What does it really mean for a woman to have high standards? It's a good question. That's a good question. I'm going to ask her. See if she has the answers. Derwin Walker, thank you. Sent $3. Wonderful, concise by the choice. We are not asking. Facts on facts. Pretty, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So
I'm
there's
looking
a
up your
question.
statistics and they're wrong, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, they're not wrong.
No. I can post it if you like.
Yeah, I understand, but they're not wrong. I was stating I got these because you wanted to say, oh, what about the UK? So I got some UK stats for you. And these are not wrong. But if you want me to get some US stats, I can as well. But
No, I think I'll trust myself to get the US stats. You stick to the
I felt
UK
like
stats.
maybe I should show you that it's still the same. So someone asks, what does it really mean for a woman to have high standards?
It means you have standards that aren't low. It means you have taken time for yourself to quite literally decide what you want in a partner. You have walked away from situations that don't serve you because you're prioritizing yourself. You structured yourself in such a way where you do not rely on men for survival. So you can actually just desire them and determine what that desire looks like, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, whether it be lifestyle similarities, i.e., I like to travel, he likes to travel, we're both into hiking, we're both into mountain climbing, we're both into dancing, we're both into backpacking, whatever that looks like. You find somebody that aligns with your lifestyle and you don't budge. That's high standards.
Okay, so it's interesting. It sounded like all you said was you just described an independent female. So because she can be able to afford to travel, afford to pay her bills,
No,
you didn't
that
really,
is not what I said.
and she
At
takes care of
all.
herself. Like that to me doesn't really mean you have high standards.
Can you stop rewording? Can you stop rewording what I said for sound bites, please? I don't like that.
I mean, that's what
Clearly,
I told you. That's what it
no,
sounds like. I never said that's what you
no.
said. I said that's what it sounds like. You didn't really give me any like standards. So a standard is
I
that she can
said
travel?
people who lifestyle align, someone who she desires to be with, depending on his emotional intelligence, mental readiness, physical attributes. I literally gave it all. Financial standing, whatever she has decided she wants for that person, the person that she is with. And then she doesn't budge.
Oh, so it,
And
it,
then you
it
have to, in my
changes
opinion,
within
one
the
sec.
person.
Yeah, she has to decide that. And I also believe too, like you have to also decide where you are when it comes to morality. So this is often something that I always hear men talk about, which I find to be hilarious. They sit here and ask questions like, why don't we get a say when it comes to a woman having AB? You should have gotten a woman who aligned with you morally. If you're pro-life, get somebody who's pro-life. If you're pro-choice, get somebody who's pro-choice. If you guys believe in adoption, get somebody who believes in adoption. If you guys don't believe in adoption, don't get somebody who believes in adoption. You want to make sure you get somebody who aligns with you in your lifestyle and you don't budge.
This is where you've kind of lost me a bit, because what you're saying is the high standards changes.
Absolutely high
It
standards.
changes with different females. But then
No,
that's
it
not high
changes with
standard
different
then, is it?
women. It changes
That's
with
not
different women.
that's not high standards then, because one person could say, well, my standard is I want to get my cheeks clapped. That's her high standard. Well, it could be her standard. Her
Would
standard
be a
could be
physical desire, not a standard.
high standards. Her standard could be, you know
If
what,
she
her standard could be, I want a man who knows how to perform in bed. Would you call that a high standard?
if that's her only standard, like just any old homeless man who knows how to
I'm just
perform.
saying, no, I'm saying one, well, you said it changes. So what if it changed for her? What if this female is looking for a man to perform well in bed and she calls that a high standard?
If anybody has one requirement, I'm going to say it right now, that's not a high standard.
I just think it's very inconsistent. It's very inconsistent to say it changes depending on the person. Because
To think
then
that 4 billion
really,
women all across the world are going to have the same exact standard is ridiculous, Remnant.
I mean, the first standard could be close your legs. Don't be a single
That's not a
mom.
standard for him. That's not a standard for him.
No, we're not
What
talking
are you
about.
talking
We're talking
about?
about her high standards. The first standard could be,
Oh, you're
hey,
talking about standards
close
for
your legs.
herself?
Don't be a single mom.
Wait, hold on. Wait, let me clarify because I want to make sure we have a good foundation here. Are you speaking about standards for herself or are you speaking about standards in the man that she would choose? Which one? Because if it's for herself, oh yeah, we can. I mean, then I'll say that every woman who decides not to be with none of these Negroes have high standards. So which one are we going by?
The man that she chooses. I would say both, but the man that she chooses. And I think I say both because how she chooses to live her life reflects on who she marries.
Okay. So we're speaking about the man. So that means her closing her leg would not be her standards for him. I would say then if she wants to close her legs and wait for marriage, then she would probably want to find a man who's okay with abstinence, right? Like that's what she would want to find. So that would be a standard. I would like a man who's okay with abstinence until marriage and she does not budge. That's a standard. But there on another side of the earth, there's a woman who says, "No, I want a man that's great in bed and he's rich and he's well traveled and he does this and he does that." That would be her high standard. But those would be two different standards because one may be religious, one might not be. But both of those women have higher standards. Why? Because if your standards mean that there's less men in the sample size, that would objectively be what would make your standards high. Like if there's less men and they go to the upper part.
Honestly, high standards I see it to be consistent no matter who you are.
There's no way for it to be
should
we are so
be
culturally
consistent.
diverse across the world that there will quite literally be no way for standards to be the same for every single woman. So if that's the case, then what would be your definition of high standards?
Okay, so you don't think
what
that
would be your definition then? What's yours?
Honestly, it's about level of quality and the man's characteristics. So the reality is, for example, integrity. That shouldn't change.
Moral standing.
Why is that going to change depending on the female? This is why I say a woman with high standards are the least attractive, because a lot of times it just changes. And that can change depending on what man. So it's not even consistent. They're not even consistent with their own standard.
What's the difference between integrity and morals?
Well, your morals can change depending on the person. Well, integrity doesn't.
You're telling me somebody's integrity can't change?
I think it's more consistent than morals, because not everyone's morals is going to be sound. But integrity is always going to be sound.
Okay. So I agree with you that I don't think the words are synonymous, but I think the words are closely related. So switching one word out with a closely related word and acting like you said something different than I did is a little bit, we're playing semantics now. I said somebody who has the same moral standing as you. You said somebody who has integrity.
So, okay, for example, a female's high standard could be, I want a man who makes a certain amount of money and is a certain height. Would you claim that to be high standards?
No.
But to her, it would be though. You see how inconsistent that is?
And we're different. Exactly. We'd be two different people. Yeah. But that's consistent with my argument, not yours.
And that's the point. It's inconsistent. This high standard is inconsistent. The reality is high standards simply is traditional values and living up to it.
So you're saying women who have traditional values are the least attractive?
No, not in this predicament.
Oh, Lord.
It's like a play on words. It's a play on words. I'm not talking about traditional women. I'm talking about a lot of these Fefails who talk about we want a high standard man or we want A, B, and C. Meanwhile, they don't live up to any of those standards. Meanwhile, they can't even get the man that they want. And like I said, the ones who are actually living that life are married, not single.
You quite literally just said high standards is somebody with traditional values, and your prompt says women with high standards are the least attractive. So I'm going to say women who believe in traditional
Yeah,
values are
it's
the
a
least
play.
attractive.
Okay, pretty intellectual. I'm hoping that you're a little
Sorry.
bit. I'm hoping that you're a little bit into intellectual, right? It's a play on words. I'm talking about the Fefails who love to say we have high standards. I have high standards. I've raised my standards. Meanwhile, she got her cheeks clapped. Meanwhile, she's a single mom. Meanwhile, she's in her 30s and unmarried. So I'm throwing it back in their face. Like, you actually don't have any standards. You're actually the least desired. Take a look at your life, your community box.
I had no idea that's what you meant to do. I thought you wanted to have an authentic conversation. Thank you for that.
It is quite authentic because if you listen to what I'm saying, it's quite obvious. I'm not hiding what I meant. If I'm talking about Fefails who unalive unborn babies, what is our high standards? If I'm talking about single moms, if I'm talking about getting your cheeks clapped, these are not high standards, but they claim that they have high standards. So it's quite obvious who I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I understood. I understand perfectly that your prompt was to try to take a shot at women who are modern, who do not believe in what you believe. But what I will tell you is
Yes.
that consistently those women continue to perform traditional women continuously. In the United States, every single state that is traditional, conservative, and has a high blockage on contraceptive care, those are the states with the lowest level of education, the highest rates of poverty, the highest rates of DV, the highest rates of divorce, and the highest rates of teen pregnancies. So there's a strong correlative remnant with your traditional values BS and the low value behavior that we see here in the United States. Often the states that correlate with women who are modern are the higher earning states where there's less children, actually more marriages and more college degrees. Because more women who are college educated in the United States get married and their marriages last longer. They also have a better outcome for their children, and their children end up having a stronger economic standing when they become adults. So every single metric, by every metric, traditional women are failing in and out of marriages. And then when you
Yeah,
add in
no,
the ones who can, no,
that's not
no, I'm
true.
telling you, no,
That
oh, it's very
that's
true.
not true. Majority
Women
of
who
these
are
independent
college
that is
educated
not true.
are higher
Majority
married
majority of
and their
Fefails who are
marriages
college
last
educated, they're
longer.
not getting
This is no,
married.
you're talking over me
No,
because I'm
no,
right.
no,
This
because
is
you're wrong. You're
Can you give me the
lying.
big screen? Can you give me the big
You
screen so I
you
can prove
are
it to you now?
lying. You
Remnant,
are
can I get
lying.
Remnant? Don't stop telling me I'm lying. Just give me the big screen and let me prove it to you. Remnant,
Majority of
can I
Fefails
get the
who are
big screen so I
college.
can prove it to
To be
you?
honest, I really don't know how to do that. But
Okay.
majority of these Fefails who are college educated, who are independent, don't even make a certain amount of money. That's one. Now I can understand. Yeah, a minority, yes. Majority aren't making six figures. Majority aren't married, especially in the BLK community. Especially in the BLK community. Now, if we're talking about
Comparing,
Asians, if
I'm
we're talking
comparing
about
women
Asians,
who are
they're
college
married.
educated versus not. That's what I'm comparing. And that's why, and you're bringing up Asians, and that's actually even a better example. Guess what? More Asian
Yeah,
women are college educated.
they have the highest
Hold on one
marriage
second.
rate as well because they actually are traditional. They're not like these BLK Fefails who are in the streets. So the reality is, majority of these college educated, they're not getting married. Or why would the stats say by 2030 they're going to be unmarried and childless?
Let me go ahead and show it to you. Give me 1 second. So this is what I like to post to prove your statistics to be incorrect. So this is the rates of women with college degrees, some college, and high school or less when it comes to marriage. If you see here consistently, women age 25 and older who are married, they have higher rates of marriage and they have longer lasting marriages than women without a college education. And these would be more likely the leftist voters and also modern women. There is no sound piece of evidence that shows women who go by traditional models are having more successful marriages. I can also show you the marriage success rates by education as well. So we're not going to sit here and act like women who go by traditional values. And I can also show you the teen rates in the Bible Belt states like Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, Louisiana, the teen rates versus states that have higher rates of education and more liberal mindsets. Y'all aren't doing good.
Okay, so where
Across
does
the
it
world,
say?
y'all aren't doing good.
So I'm a little bit confused. Okay, so it said the education gap in marriage continues to grow. Can you explain this for me? Explain this stat for me, because I'm a little bit
This
confused.
is 1990. Everyone was around the 60s. This is regardless of high school, some college, bachelors. If you notice, there's only a slight decline, women with bachelor's degrees, 4%. There's over a 13% decline in the women with a high school education or less in their marriage rates. That's the widening that they're talking about.
Okay, then. So you're saying marriages drop when they're less educated?
Yes, i.e. the more traditional. The ones who
Okay.
are getting married younger,
So-
the ones who are having children younger. Yeah.
Okay, then. I'm not basing it off the fact that they're educated. There's nothing wrong with being educated and being married. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is majority of Fefails are not getting married. They're not. Now, of course, you can be educated and get married. I've never said that you can't. So I can see, yeah, you can have a college degree and get married. I've never argued that fact. I've never said that once, because look at Asian women. They are the most educated and have the highest marriage rate and the lowest divorce and the lowest single mom rate. So my argument is not that. My argument isn't that you can't be educated and not get married. That's never been my argument. The argument is majority of you Fefails in Western society are just not getting married. Being educated doesn't make you less traditional. That's never been what I've ever said.
Actually,
What
that
I'm
is a
saying
strong correlation in what they're saying in the manosphere. That's actually not true. I'm not saying
No,
you're
that's
saying
not
it, but what I'm
true.
saying that, oh my gosh. So you're trying to tell me these men are not saying we don't care about your education. Y'all need to be getting married from 18 to 25 and not worried about going to college. Are you telling me you don't hear that in the manosphere? Am I making that up completely?
No. What they're saying is that a lot of these Fefails who claim that I have a degree, I got a PhD, have a very masculine attitude. And that's why they're not attracted to that. It actually has nothing to do with the fact that they have a degree. Degree is not what makes you masculine. Take a look at YT women. They find their husbands in college. And I think that's sometimes the best place to find someone that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. There's nothing wrong with that. So having a college degree or university degree, whatnot, doesn't actually mean you are masculine. But the attitude that you get because you have a PhD or a degree and whatnot, the attitude that you now want to pour into the dating market is the issue. The issue is who you become because you have this degree and these standards that you want to put out there because you have these degrees.
But that's my exact point, is that because of the rhetoric that you just spouted just now, men are intimidated by women with degrees at all. And
No, they're
because
not.
there's a one second, and because there's a significant decline in men going to college anyway, and women are starting to outnumber men by a large margin in universities, there's even less of a chance that they're going to be meeting each other in college. And then if that man is not in college, there's a high probability he will disregard education and think she's masculine for having it because he himself does not
And
have one.
and another thing as well.
That's how these things flow
And
together.
another thing as well, females who have a college degree are also more likely to initiate divorce as well. That's
Yes,
something
absolutely.
that's
Yes,
so they're
yes,
more
for
likely
sure.
to initiate
But
divorce as
they're
well. So they're
also
more
higher married.
so they're most likely as well to end their marriages. So I understand why men don't want to have to deal with that, because not only do you have someone that is more likely to be masculine and combative and aggressive, but you have someone that's also more likely to destroy your marriage because of those character traits. It has nothing to do with the degree. It's about the person. So I'm just going to quickly acknowledge the super chat. Philly, thank you. Philly, your head, thank you. Sent $2. Their perspective justifies her choices. Interesting take. I agree. Hold on one second. Dark Lake sent $10. Thank you. Remnant, the only reason the divorce rate for college-educated women has dropped is because of the current azimuth of the economy. Also, the purging of BS jobs for women got them committing. Interesting.
There is not enough of a time to even see that. That's ridiculous.
Eric Jordan sent $2. Educate BK Fefails are the most enrolled, not marry sis. That's true. When it comes to BLK Fefails, I mean, yeah, they're just completely losing in every aspect. They're definitely not the most educated, that's for sure. But it's interesting that you said that men are intimidated by educated Fefails, and I just think that's completely false. No one's intimidated by an educated fool, as they like to put it.
Give me one second. Yeah. So whenever it comes to like men being intimidated, I'm not gonna argue because that's my subjective opinion, and I know when to admit that it's subjective. But I subjectively believe that men are very intimidated. They are shaking in their boots when they encounter a woman that's intellectual and a woman that surpasses them when it comes to cognitive ability. Because often what happens next is that they try to weaponize their physical strength against that woman when they realize they cannot speak to her in a way that she can speak to them. But that is my subjective opinion. So if you disagree with that, because that's not your lived experience, then I can go ahead and say, hey, you know what? We're at a draw there. But what I can say is that yes, women who are college educated are going to be more likely to file for divorce when the marriage is not working. Why? Because they have the money and financial standing to do it, right? They can leave. But if I were men, and they claim to be logical, I wouldn't look at the highest rates of people leaving a thing. I would look at the highest success rates of the people in the thing. And if you know that regardless of who's filing, marriages are more likely to fail when a woman is not college educated than when she is. That's what I would look at. Y'all are looking at who's filing rather than the marriage being successful, period. That is so dumb.
Yeah, after this, I'm going to introduce the next panelist. But the reality is, marriage rates has been declining since the first and second wave of feminism. It has never been the same. After the second wave of feminism, females are not getting married. So I don't think it's centered around her college degree. I think it's mostly centered around who they are today, which is modern day females. Now, men, I understand it's subjective because the reality is you actually can't prove that because it's not true. Men are never going to be intimidated by independent females who can't keep a job, who most likely are going to be in debt, who can't even get their own date in life right, who can't even be courted by a man, who most likely are going to end up being baby mamas or unaliving the unborn. There's nothing to be intimidated
Women
by.
without
It's
college
failure.
degrees are more likely to be baby mothers than women with college
Yes, no,
degrees.
that is true. I have seen that stat. That is true. They are more likely to be a bunch of baby mamas. But guess what? An independent female is more likely to destroy her marriage. An independent female is most likely going to be unmarried and childless by 2030. So it still doesn't look like they're winning either. I'm just going to introduce the next panelist. So we got Jenny Manny. Welcome. Can you please address the prompt?
Hi. So, quick question. Does it mean high standards as in them having money or just what they have to offer?
It's just the standards that they are looking for in a man, or the standards that they say they are living by as well. So the standards, so the type of man that they're looking for and how they live their life.
Okay, are we talking in like they're trying to get a rich man or they're trying to get like using for money? Is that?
Well, yeah, a lot of times, yes. Financially, the type of way he lives. So it's not just money, even the way he lives, his lifestyle, what he believes, all these things. Like a lot of females, you know, for example, they will go to church for look for a husband, even though she has never, ever lived a God-fearing life in her life. That's just an example. A lot of these females will go to church to look for a husband. Meanwhile, she was getting her cheeks clapped when she was 20. Now she's a 30-year-old auntie. Why are you in church looking for a husband? A bit too late for that. So that's just an example.
Oh, okay. So then I do disagree with the prompt. I think women of all stature are gorgeous and beautiful. And whenever they're ready to get married is the right thing. I will agree. A hypocrite is what you described, which is someone who wants a man who lives a certain life, but then themselves do not live that life. I do believe those people are least attractive, but I mean less attractive, but but yeah, I don't agree that women with high standards is. If a woman herself has high standards herself, then what would be wrong with her wanting a man with high standards?
Okay, we got Slime.
What up? What up?
So, man, but
All right, the first thing
okay, we can go to open panel. So it's interesting that you started talking about looks. Said that, oh, you know, the way they look, they are beautiful and pretty. That's very irrelevant. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are, you can still be the least attractive.
Oh, I was just trying to give the women in here a compliment. I wasn't using that for my point.
Okay, well, a lot of these females are the least attractive.
And why is that?
A lot of females have this mentality that as long as you can look good, as long as you can as long as you can put your makeup on a certain way, as long as you can have your weave a certain way, or as long as you can dress a certain way, that automatically makes you attractive. That automatically makes you special, deserving. When really everything about your inherited value doesn't even exist anymore. All the intrinsic things about these females are low vibrational. So yeah, looking pretty, looking good doesn't mean anything when you yourself are just a complete degenerate.
Well, if it isn't about how a woman looks, why is that how it is in society? because a lot of men will not go for women who he finds less attractive. So if it is not about how attractive a woman is, how nice she may dress, why is that what men chase?
Men chase that to clap cheeks, not to marry. Today, it's so easy for Fefails to look sexually appealing. It's very easy. You can wear a push-up bra, some butt pads, even get something to snatch up your waist. Or if you have money, go and get surgery. It's so easy to be attractive. It's not hard. A lot of you Fefails are not even born attractive, but you can make yourself attractive with a bust-down weave. A lot of you Fefails don't even have nyash, but you go to the gym to get nyash. You will do some heavyweight lifts for a year just to get a bit of glutes. So it's very easy to be sexually attractive.
Wait,
That's
you're mad at people going to the gym now?
not to go to the gym to get nyash. If you're going to the gym to just get nyash, you are 100% a degenerate. Gym is to be healthy, not to get some buttocks to get your cheeks clapped. I mean,
That is just
come on. We're talking about, if this is why I say they are the least attractive, because you're going to the gym to get a big nyash, not to be healthy. It's completely degenerate. It doesn't even make any sense.
well, going to the gym
Free
and
the
getting
nyash.
and going to the gym to get a bigger nyash also helps you stay healthy too. So you're getting two things done at the same time.
It's degenerate because the gym, your nyash should have never been the reason why you want to be healthy. Who do you think they're getting the big nyash for?
Because they wanna, when they put a dress on, they want it to pop.
For who? Who
For
is it gonna pop
themselves.
for? For
They
them?
wanna
No,
walk.
it's not. No, now you're
They
lying.
wanna.
Now you're lying. No,
They
no,
wanna
they're
feel
doing
it.
it for men. They're
They
doing
wanna
it for
walk.
men.
They
They're
wanna feel
doing
it
it for
shake
men.
while
We're
they
not going
walk.
to lie. They're doing it for men. They're doing it for men.
Okay.
They want to get a man's attention. So they want it to pop. Because that's what men
Okay.
are gonna notice.
What's wrong with that?
It's completely how can I say this? Community box behavior. You are for the street. That's what's wrong with it.
Most of those women don't even be out there like that.
Yes, they are out there like that. You don't think when they hit the gym and they wear those skimpy tight leggings, every man can see their nyash.
Why are
You
they
go on their
looking?
Instagram, everyone can see their nyash.
Why are they looking? Stop
You
looking
don't
if they
need to
don't like
look.
it.
It's right there in front of you.
Is that big?
It doesn't have to be that big. It's how you dress.
No, if I'm not looking, I can still see it. Woo! Ow.
No, that doesn't make a difference. You can be petite, but if you're wearing very tight, skimpy clothes, people are going to notice.
I've never noticed some nyash without looking.
Okay.
If men are not attracted to that, they need to stop making that
No,
popular.
they're not marrying them though. That's the difference. Yeah, men are going to clap their cheeks, of course. Yeah, men are going to clap their cheeks, but men are not going to marry them.
Okay, well, what about men who go to the gym for abs? Who they doing that for?
Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to quickly acknowledge the super chat. So Game Changer, thank you. Said, how do I join the conversation? It's women only panels tonight. Sorry, but definitely next time. Eric Jordan, thank you. Sent $2. BOK Fefails marry at 26% and divorce at 80%. You lost. Yeah, they're not getting married. So yeah, go ahead, Jenny. What was your question?
Oh, I said, then why do men go to the gym to get abs? For who?
Yeah, a lot of them are getting it for women. Yes, it's true.
All right, so people make themselves look more attractive to get a partner.
This is it though. For a man and woman is different. And this is why you Fefails fail. Who holds the keys to marriage?
Was that a rhetorical question or is that
No,
actual question?
that's an actual question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're both going to the gym to be more attractive for the opposite gender, yes. But who holds the keys to marriage?
Who holds the key? I didn't know it was locked. I didn't know marriage was locked.
Okay, then. So who are you expecting to bend down on one knee and say, "Will you marry me"? Are you expecting a woman to do that, or are you expecting a man to do that?
Well, usually the man bows down to the woman because that's the
Okay,
queen.
then. So that's who holds the keys to marriage.
Yeah, exactly. He knows his place.
So the reality is, if the man is going to be the one who's going to bend down on one knee and say, "Will you be my wife?" then really, who's at an advantage for going to the gym to get abs, and who's at a disadvantage for going to get a big nyash?
The woman is at advantage because you're bending down and bowing to her like she's a queen and you're a servant.
That's so backwards. Because men are not going to marry someone that's a community box. So she's at a disadvantage because she's going to the gym to get nyash. That's only going to make her get her cheeks clapped. Whilst the man goes to the gym to get these abs, who's going to give him more options and more women who he wants to marry.
How is she not at an advantage when you're on your knee to her? Yeah?
Because the man chooses who he wants to kneel down to.
Yeah,
he's not kneeling down. He's choosing, not her.
Bow. He's choosing to bow down.
He's choosing the woman he wants to do that with.
Exactly, because she's a queen.
That's not every Fefail, though. A lot of these Fefails are the ones bending over for the man.
False. More men ask for marriage.
That's not false. That's not false. Marriage rates are low. So really, who's doing the bending over? Really think about it. Marriage rates are low and hookup culture is high. Who is really doing the bending over? Who's actually bending on their knees? Let's talk about that. Who's actually bending on their knees?
The man.
No, it's not the man because they're not getting married. Women are not getting married. Fefails are not getting married. So who's actually doing the bending over? It sounds like men are the kings because Fefails are giving what 3,000 without a ring. It looks like men are the kings today because you Fefails are bending over for them. On your knees. I mean, how are you letting men? How are you bending on your knees for a man that's not your husband? That's the real question. So I'm going to move on to the next panelist. You can think about that. Because clearly these Fefails ain't queens if they're giving what 3,000. No ring on your finger, but you will willingly bend down on your knees?
You're trying to get that practice in, bro.
Exactly. That's why I said they're not the queens.
So he doesn't want her to have skills, bro?
That's not skills. That is not skills. Oh my goodness me. This is a complete community box. Grips, welcome. Can you please address the prompt?
Women with high standards are the least attractive. I think any woman whose standards is set on getting a man is unattractive.
That's interesting. Go on.
Because men give you mileage. Dick is cheap.
No swearing, please. No swearing.
Well, the phallus is cheap on any marketplace value. They'll hump anything. And they're not the cleanest individuals on the planet. So any woman whose standards are set on getting a man is not going to be attractive because they take mileage off of you.
Okay, then. So that's an interesting take. It's open panel. So what happens now when she is looking to find a husband that she wants?
If she's looking to find a husband, she will have to have the mindset of a sacrificial lamb.
A wham. What's a wham? A sheep?
Lamb.
A lamb.
Yeah. She would have to be one who wants to endure, one who will sacrifice her time, her energy, her body, her space, her existence. She would have to be low. Like for her to be in a relationship with a man, she has to get real low.
Okay, and what do you think these independent females who are successful in their careers, making six figures, don't you think they're sacrificing?
The only time that they're sacrificing is if they're seeking a relationship or if they're in one.
No, I'm not
But
talking about if
one
they're in a relationship or not. I'm talking about just she's strictly about her bag. She's
one
strictly
who
about making the
is
bag. Don't you think she's also sacrificing?
nah, not if you investing in yourself.
That's a lie. Do you really think
Because
do you really think you can make six figures asleep with your eyes closed? So you don't think these career-driven females who make decent amount of money, so I'm talking about the above average, don't you think they sacrifice?
yeah, but with that comes luxuries. You get facials, you get spa treatments, you get vacations, lavish vacations, you eat good, you get the best gym membership, you get private doctors, you live long.
Okay then. So to you or to a female, yeah, that may be a privilege and all these things. Yeah, you get to go to the gym, you get to have these facials and whatnot.
A private
Okay,
doctor
yeah.
too.
So
That's pretty good.
so you get
Good
materialistic things.
insurance.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you get materialistic things. But the
Insurance is not
reality
material.
but the reality is, Grips, anything good in life takes sacrifice. It doesn't matter whether you're single or married. Anything good in life that you want, anything that's actually going to fulfill you or let you have a successful life is going to take sacrifice. That's
I
life.
understand that.
So it
What I'm
doesn't matter
saying
what you
though,
do. It doesn't matter
I'm
what you
not
do.
talking about,
If you really want to have the life that you want, you are going to have to sacrifice. Doesn't matter if there's a man there or not.
yeah, but I'm not talking about Birkin bags and designer clothes. I'm talking about having good homeowners insurance, having good health care insurance, having specialists that can
But
give you
majority,
hold on for a second. Having specialists that could give you facials and skin treatment to keep your skin nice and tight. You have people that could give you scalp treatments, things of that nature. That's not material things. These are all the things I listed was things that improve your health. I
okay,
didn't list anything that was material.
I
And I'm
understand.
saying that
Yeah.
if
So
you work and you make six figures and you have home insurance, you have health insurance,
yes.
you have a longer life to
Thank you,
live.
sincere. That's sincere. Go on. You can land your
Also,
plane.
also,
Oh, did
a
you land
woman.
your plane, Grips?
Yeah, I was just making that clear that I wasn't talking about materials. I was talking about things that increase your life expectancy. A private
Okay.
doctor, a private gym, a private trainer. Those things increase your life expectancy. It doesn't take away from it.
But
Okay.
also, it's better to
I have a
sacrifice.
response. I have a response for that, but I'm gonna let Jenny speak and then I'm gonna respond.
I'm just gonna say it's better to sacrifice things for yourself rather sacrifice for a man.
Okay, that's interesting. So I guess we can agree the females who can be able to live these luxurious life and afford private doctors and private this and facials and all these things that clearly take money are living above average life and have above average money. And when you take a look at females who make over six figures, it's what, 7%? It's only about 7% of females who make over six figures, and the first ones are married. So the ones who make over six figures are married and have a husband. Then after that, it's widows because they got inherited, and then you got your divorcees. And then the small percentage is these independent females. So really, majority of these females can't afford anything that you just said. They can't afford a private doctor, especially not in the US. They can't afford anything that you just mentioned. So a lot of
I'm
them,
not.
hold
Remember,
on,
you
hold on,
said
a
a
lot of them,
female. Remember, you said a
hold on,
female
hold on,
that
hold
makes
on,
six.
hold on, hold on,
No,
hold
I'm
on.
not. You said a female that makes six figures.
Yes,
You
I
didn't say
know.
an average
I know.
woman.
I know. I know that.
And that's what I was responding
and that's
to.
I know
Somebody
that's
who
what you were
makes six
responding to.
figures.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. The ones who make six figures are not even the majority. Majority of females who make six figures are married. And that's how they get their money. Or they divorced a husband. These independent females are not the majority. The ones who make six figures either are married or divorced their rich husband and got the bag. Even if you take a look at the richest women, are either divorced or married.
What's
The
your source for
richest
that?
women, the richest women, please, you can literally just do your research. Okay, come on. We're not even talking about anything. We're not talking about some scientific research here. Okay. The richest woman today is not an independent, educated female. She's either married or divorced. So a lot of this bag, luxury, living my best life, private doctor, they got from their husbands. So majority of
They
these
still got it.
females, so this sacrificing that you would say, it's not worth to sacrifice your life, it's not worth to sacrifice for a husband. These women that you're talking about sacrificed and now they're living the richest life. They're literally the richest women in the world. That's not independent female. That's a married woman. So really, you females are sacrificing to be a bunch of brokies and dusties, unemployed, in debt. If anything, you're doing worse. Because at least even the average women who are living lives have a husband to do that for them. You females are just living broke by yourself and doing these late night jobs, late night nursing jobs. Go back home, you got no man there to help you. So, yeah, everyone sacrifices, but they're not living their best life.
Being independent from a man is living the best life.
With the independence, if you are not chasing a relationship and if you are not chasing the idealism of a knight in shining armor and you are investing in yourself, even with the average income, you can do things to budget your money around your health because you'll have more time to focus on you if you're not chasing phallus. That way, you can start budgeting your money. You can invest the best way that you know how. I know a lot of women that have good health insurance through their jobs, that get dietitians and things of that nature because they are focusing on their star player. The independent women that are not doing well, 9 times out of 10, it's because they were chasing phallus and they got distracted from taking care of their health and themselves. That's the only time that a woman comes to demise, when she's looking for a knight in shining armor. So yes, what you're saying is true, but you're leaving out the huge obstacle in her course, and that is balls.
But
that's
that's
her
not
obstacle.
true. Because since the first and second wave of feminism, a lot of these females are actually more depressed. Married women
And they
are
are
actually the
depressed.
happiest.
Why, Ramna? They are depressed because they are still chasing the
Married women are
idealism
the
of a
happiest.
man.
No, they're not chasing. No, the reality is, you see, this is what you believe, Grips, and I'm starting to see that. You believe that, hey, if you stop wanting marriage, and if you stop wanting a family, and if you stop wanting children, then you will magically be happy, and you'll magically live your best life. That's not true.
No, what
That's
I'm
not
saying is that
that doesn't even make any sense. So really, and this is why I don't understand a lot of these females. You say that
that's
you
not
want
what I'm
women.
saying, Ramna.
No, but that's what you are saying. You're saying when
No,
you
what I'm
stop
saying
wanting,
is
when you
that
stop
in your
wanting.
pursuit And
Yes,
your
pursuit
pursuit
is
of wanting
wanting.
something
Okay,
that
then no.
depreciates your value. Listen to what
No,
I'm
this
saying.
is it. No,
And
that's
your
what you're saying.
pursuit
Hold on.
of
You're basically
wanting
saying the
something
pursuit
that
of wanting a
depreciates
man,
your
the
value,
pursuit of wanting a
you're going to
husband,
break
that they
down.
are going to be happy. But that's not true. See,
May I
this is
speak?
where I don't understand. This is why I don't understand a lot of Fefails talking points. Is you talk about how feminism allowed you to choose what you want in life. You talk about how feminism allowed you to have all the luxuries of choices. But then the choice of pursuing a husband now is going to ruin you. The choice of having a husband now is going to cripple you. I think it just contradicts this whole idea of choice. And another thing as well, what a woman or a female wants, you can't change that. Wanting a husband and wanting a family is going to fulfill you in life much more than being independent and lonely. That's the truth. We are human. Human beings crave connection. And connection beyond friendship, connection beyond mom and dad, connection beyond brother and sister. Okay, there is a whole different connection that you get with a man. And
Okay,
I think a
host.
lot of you females like to deny that reality. Because the truth is, a lot of you females are not getting the man that you want to give you that connection. So you tell yourself, I need to stop wanting it so it can stop hurting.
That's not what I said,
Wait, can I
Remna.
say something, please? Okay, so host. Men and women in 2026 are more depressed than they have been in history because of financial struggles, because cost of food have risen, gas, insurance, everything is the most expensive it has been in America, and it has ever been in all years, right? Since America has been created. That is the reason why people are depressed, because it is harder to survive nowadays. It's not because of relationship issues, where that might be a factor. It is not the main issue. The main issue is cost of living. Even people in relationships are struggling with this.
Yeah, but married women are the happiest.
Oh
That
boy.
that 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 is a fact. Married women are the happiest. So when you really take a look at who is it affecting the most when it comes to happiness, because I know a lot of you females, you really do put happiness at a pedestal, and yet they're not even happy. But the ones
Because
who are
That's not
married
what I
are
was
happy.
suggesting, though. What I was suggesting was self love and self care. And for you to knock down self love and self care as if it is not something to obtain as a woman, then there's something dangerously flawed there. I am not talking about an aspect where you are fulfilling yourself or filling a void. You're filling a void in your life with things to make you distracted from the phallus. No, what I'm saying is a logical thinking woman will go, this man decreases my value. So why should I waste my time sitting with him when I could be finding time to love myself? The key in life is the key to all your problems is inside of you. If you got a potty mouth, if you have problems with time management, if you have like daddy issues or mommy issues, or you grew up in a house full of brothers and you were the only girl, and that traumatized you in some way or some crap like that, or you were bullied in high school, all of these things that we embody throughout the years of our childhood. When we step into adulthood as women, it is up to us to break the cycle within us, right? And if we don't break it with self-love and self-care, we will be a tornado of destruction in our life.
Okay, Grips, I understand. Listen, I am not saying that people shouldn't love themselves. The reality is, a lot of these females, to be honest, they love themselves to a point where they're actually closest to being a narcissist more than anything, okay? Females love themselves so much, they'll take 1,000 pictures of themselves, okay? So the reality is, I don't think self-love is really the issue here, because what happens when you do love yourself? What happens when you are confident? What happens when you are healthy? What happens when you are taking care of yourself? You still are going to want a husband. You are still going to want the family, okay? Everything inside yourself is not going to give you a child. Everything inside yourself is not going to give you marriage. At some point, you do hit a place where all of those things that you've said, they do meet.
Not
But
all women.
there are, no, I'm saying the ones that do. Because at some point, you can't just say, well, I can give myself everything. No, you can't. You actually can't give yourself everything. You can't give yourself marriage, a family,
So you
a
telling me I can't
man.
get married to myself, bro?
No, you can't give yourself marriage as in married with somebody else. You can marry yourself. You can go ahead and
What
do
if
that.
I got like 5 personalities?
Then you deserve to be in a
I could marry one of
psychiatrist
those
office.
personalities.
You need to be in a padded room, a psych ward. Yes,
I could
you need to be
marry
in a
one of
psych
my
ward.
personalities.
Yeah, you need to be in a psych ward. You have 5 different personalities. You need to be in a psych ward. Not here talking to me.
That's 5 different husbands for me.
Yeah, psych ward is where you belong.
Okay.
Okay, Sasha, welcome. Can you please address the prompt?
Hi. Yeah, I don't agree with it. I think standards are good for anyone to have a healthy relationship. You should know what you want. You should stick by your principles and values.
Okay, then. So you said that standards are good things to have. So how come a lot of these Fefails only have standards for men but no standards for themselves?
Well, having standards for people around you technically is the incorrect way to go around standards. Standards should be stuff that you don't accept from other people. And when they do those, you don't expect them to change. You leave or you exit the situation.
Did you
So
understand my question?
Yeah, I understand your question, but your question is going off
So how come they
people
have
that have a
standards for
false idea
themselves?
of how standards work.
Okay,
Standards should
then.
be for the behavior you accept from other people.
Yeah, I don't think you understood my question. How come they have all these standards for how people should behave, but they have no standards for themselves and how they behave?
I would say most people usually have both. I haven't met someone like that. I'm going to be real with you.
I mean, a lot of these females have that. For
Host.
let's have an example like single moms.
What's a fefail? What is that?
A failed
I've
female.
never heard that
A
word.
failed female.
Failed female. Okay.
So a lot of these females do have that. And I'll give example of single mom. This is top one that goes on top of my head, right? A lot of these single moms say they want a man who makes a certain amount of money. They want a man who doesn't have children, or even any man. So for example, single moms have all these standards for men when they didn't even live up to any of those standards, and they literally have a child.
Well, what if they got divorced? Or
It doesn't
someone
matter.
can be a single mom for many different reasons. I mean,
It doesn't matter.
For
They
God,
still have a
she could be a
child
widow.
involved.
Hold up. She could be a widow. Like, there are so many different cases. I'm so confused by that. I think that's not a good example.
Okay, so
now I would say most people that usually have. Wait, can I finish the thought?
Hold on, Sasha.
Okay.
So
Okay, go ahead.
This is it. Is that there are reasons why a lot of females do end up being single moms. Yes, that is true, but it still doesn't change the fact. Okay, it still doesn't change the fact that there's baggage that she has that a childless, unmarried woman doesn't have. Okay? It's
So
harsh to
are
say.
you upset
It's
if she
harsh
ends
to
up with someone? Is this where this is coming from?
I never
Because
s- no,
by all
I
means,
never-
like
I
if
never
someone
said I'm
doesn't want
upset
to
for
wait,
that.
can
I'm
I please finish
saying-
the thought?
Yeah, because
Please.
you're not answering you're not being
I'm
genuine.
trying to answer it. It just takes a little bit longer than a yes or no question because these aren't yes or no questions, correct? So what I'm assuming
They
is
really are, but females love making things complicated. But go ahead.
Someone is 100% allowed to not want to be with someone that has a kid or has whatever they want, right? For women or for men. I think that's fully agreeable because this is someone that you're committing to for the rest of your life. They should meet up to your expectations. Now, if someone who's a single mom is expecting someone else to, let's say, not have kids, sure, that is a little bit of a high or maybe unrealistic expectation. They still can have it. They just have to realize that it might come with consequences of them not being able to find this person that they're looking for.
Okay,
correct?
and
So I
that's the
think what you're
point.
describing as
So
baggage, I would assume most people, especially if they're older in age and they're looking for someone to be in a relationship with, they would have some sort of baggage.
of course they would. Of course, an older female is always
Perfect.
gonna. An older female is always gonna have more
Older women and
baggage.
men, yes,
Yeah,
correct.
older females are always gonna have more baggage than the younger ones. That's just the reality. So this is why we say their standards don't match up with themselves. You want more than you actually can bring. You don't even live up to the standard that you want.
Yeah, but someone's allowed to do that. Sure, it's a little bit unrealistic, but they can still have those standards. I'm
Yes,
confused
that's
because
why
I know
they're the
people that have those standards and they end up finding someone. Sure,
and
it is
why
way harder.
that's why they are the least attractive, because men see this. How is a community box asking for a God-fearing man? How is a community
So wait, so
broke?
what if they only slept with one person? You're assuming because someone is a single mom, they're all of these other things, but you have to first get to know them as a
I wasn't
person
just talking about
to
single
make that
moms, but
assumption.
I'm not just talking about
Well,
single
no,
moms.
that's what we started this conversation
Yeah,
on.
we
Is these
started
single
it with
moms, and
that,
you're
and
saying they're used
yeah,
up
we
and they have
started
baggage.
it. It
You
was
never
an
told me we
example.
switched.
It was Sasha. It was an example. Now,
Yes,
if
and we
you
were
can keep
dissecting
up,
that example.
yes, yeah, but I see you kind of move a little bit slower than I do when it comes to conversation. So I was hoping you'll keep up with me. We've kind of gone past that. You just admitted when you stated that, yeah, it's a little bit far-fetched. How I saw it is, okay, you admitted that it's far-fetched to have certain standards, especially as a single mom. So now we've moved on to that. And with that statement that you made, I'm showing you that a lot of these females, just like these single moms, have these useless standards that they can't live up to. And then you
Then what's a
mentioned age.
So can you explain to me what it is? Because the only explanation you gave me was someone, and this actually was an explanation. You said that someone who has high standards for other people and doesn't have always high standards for themselves. But
So you're
that was
asking
you
me what a
giving one of their
female is.
characteristics.
So it's open panel, by the way, just to let you know. So Grips, you can jump in if you want. So you're asking me what a FIFO is? Is that your question?
I've never heard that word before.
Okay, it means failed female,
Okay, what does that imply?
a modern woman,
How do you become a failed female?
a modern woman.
Okay. What do you characterize as a modern woman? You're not giving descriptions, just giving one-word answers.
Someone that isn't traditional. Say a female who doesn't live up to any type of traditional standards. So she's masculine.
Okay, so
she
someone
is
just
very
having a job.
promiscuous.
So a woman having a job, is that considered a failed female?
No.
Okay,
That's
that
not
technically
that.
isn't going with traditional ideals.
It actually is.
So it's only
because
some things.
No, because the reality is just because you have a job doesn't make you less traditional. So, for example, if you take a look at outside of Western society, a lot of countries where marriage rates are high, you are gonna have wives who still work. But the reality is having a job.
If we look at the Bible, hold up. If we do look at the
Yeah, we're not
Bible, it
talking
did
about
say
God.
men's work is
We're not talking
outside of the
about God.
house.
I don't talk about
Well,
the
you said
Bible.
traditional values in America
traditional
at least
traditional
go
doesn't
based
just mean
off
about God. No,
the Bible.
No, it's no. There are people who don't believe in God and are still traditional. Okay, there are people who are not even Christians and are still traditional. So you telling
And what
me
do you
someone,
think they base
hold
those
on,
traditional values on? The root of traditional values
it's not based
is
off
the
the
Bible.
Bible. No, it's not. Oh, are you serious? So you're telling me someone that's Muslim?
The root of traditional values is Abrahamic religion.
No, okay.
It is
I don't-
Abrahamic religion.
Sasha, I
It's
don't
the
talk
three
about God.
Abrahamic religions.
I do not talk about God in my life. Okay, so if you want to go do that, you can go to some church and be a female there. Okay, I don't talk about God in my life. I don't talk about the Bible in my life because the reality is not everyone believes in God. Not everyone believes in the Bible. So let's just keep it simple and inclusive. We're not talking about the Bible.
Okay, so then what other traditional values would make someone a failed female? You said working is fine. What about working in a male-dominated field? Something that, like lawyer, finance, investment banker.
I wouldn't say it's the actual job or the career that makes her modern, because like I said, if you take a look at outside Western society, there are still women who have jobs. There are still women who are working. Would I say majority? No, but having a job doesn't automatically make you masculine, because you can still submit to your husband. You probably are not going to be working full time. Maybe you take a time off your job for a little bit, and then maybe when your children are a bit older, you go back. So there's it. Having a job doesn't just make you masculine. What makes you masculine is the type of attitude that you have in how you live your life.
So
How
what
you
type of attitude and what type of way of life would you consider modern?
Okay, for example, being promiscuous.
Okay. Anything else?
Being promiscuous, being very emasculating, being very aggressive, being very combative, not being submissive. That's a very masculine trait. So when a female is not submissive, that's very masculine. I don't know where you think that is attractive or where you think that is traditional. A lot of these females want to have a marriage but not be submissive. A lot of females want to have a partnership when marriage can never be a partnership. Marriage is not made to be a partnership. So having that whole mentality where I want a husband who can be my partner, that's very masculine.
So how are you submissive? Are you one of the not failed females?
This is not about me. If it was about me, I would say remnant princess, but we're talking about majority. We're talking about females.
Yeah, so would you be one of them? Would you not be? Like, are you?
Yeah, we're not talking about me. I understand you're maybe getting a bit triggered, so you're
No, I'm
finding
not
it
getting
hard
triggered at
to.
all.
So you're finding it hard to just focus on the topic outside of
No,
myself.
it's really not hard to
and
focus on at
yourself.
all. I was trying to
Okay,
see
then,
if
so-
you're a hypocrite or you preach what you sow.
Yeah, that's none of your business. So I like to just get onto the topic. I know you females want to know about me, but what you can do is make a Facebook group, have a little fan page, and have a chin wag about who Remnant
Facebook,
Princess
I'm
is.
not that old.
Oh, I never said you was old.
Facebook's for old people.
Okay. All right. So you're just young and dumb. I get it. All right, then. So I am going to be wrapping this up. Grips, would you like to have your last words, please?
No, you can put me down for the algorithm, I'm not.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining, Grips. Okay, then. So what are my last thoughts? I want to thank every single one of you. Thank you, everyone on TikTok. I appreciate you. Thank you for the gift. And thank you to everyone on YouTube as well. I see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the super chats as well. Shout out to Team Peterson. Thank you. I see you.
Whoa.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly let the men have their last words, and then I'll have my last words and wrap it up. So we have Classy Perspective. Welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you for
always.
having me. Thank you.
So yeah, what are your words, your last words to this prompt, or your thoughts, anything?
I'm sorry. I apologize for being outside. People, I want to say one thing. I'm sorry, ladies. These degrees, they don't make you better. I'm sorry because if you look up a woman named Chesley Christ, New York City, you'll see the reason why. This woman was highly accomplished, beautiful, won beauty pageants and everything. The end of her demise was her jumping off the 26th floor of her New York building. Why did she come to her demise? Depression. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all need men more than y'all think y'all do. But go ahead, Bremen. I'm done.
Yeah, that is a fact. She had everything: the looks, the beauty, money, the life. Even her home father was a YT man, so she had the privilege. And look what happened. Dwight, welcome. Last thoughts, please, or your last words?
Thank you for having me. First, I want to commend you on the fine job that you're doing here. I was just scrolling through and I came across and I was listening on the conversation. Um, I was in the chat for a little bit. However, women need to understand that, and I like the way you talk about modern women. The masculine trait, and just like the brother said earlier, the degrees, the job that you have is meaningless to a man. If you're not feminine, if you're not willing to submit, if you're not willing to do these things, that's going to make the relationship work. Then, yeah, buy a dog, die alone.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. CJ Flex, welcome. CJ Flex, I'm sending you an invite to unmute.
Thank you, sis. Thank you. Thank you for the work you do. Just that's all I can say. Hopefully, people can get the people can get wisdom.
Oh, you're breaking up. I can't hear you. CJ, yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead. I think it's the signal. CJ Flex, I can't hear you again. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the signal. Sounds like you entered a corner store and the signal just went out. Okay, then. I want to acknowledge one more super chat. Want to acknowledge El Castigator who sent $5. Thank you, El Castigator. They just say they have high standards because if they don't, they will be considered a select me by the alleged sisterhood. Facts on facts. Okay, yeah, go ahead, CJ Flex. You can say what you wanted to say. It's just that we couldn't hear you.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I'm at work. That's why I was trying to go out of work to talk. But I just said what I want to say quickly here. It's good. It's good work that you're doing, and I don't know if you're Christian, but all I have to say is God bless you, and hopefully that some of our sisters or some of our some women will be delivered from what you're doing, and I hope that I just hope because. Many of them don't understand what's going on. They don't understand. I have seen a lot of what you're saying, and I hope that our ladies will come to understand that that you need a man more than you can imagine. And I don't want to say a lot here, but you've done a lot of good work. I've been seeing you over on my FYP. And I just thought that I want to listen more to see what you're saying, and I've listened more. And I just tell you, I don't know where you got your wisdom from, but I believe that God will bless you, and I hope that women are listening are going to be blessed as well, and come out from a righteousness of being proud and being independent of what they should be dependent on. I can't even say a lot, sis, but God bless you, and keep up the good work. I give you a follow already. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, CJ. I appreciate the support. And if you definitely like this content, then definitely check out my YouTube channel. And hopefully you'll like the content there as well. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. So yes, women with high standards are the least attractive, or shall I say Fefails with the high standards are the least attractive. Of course they are. This is why they're not getting married, because they think these high standards will save them from the streets. No one will save you for the streets, because when you went to the streets, you married the streets. The streets is your home. The reality is a lot of these Fefails don't want to accept that these so-called high standards are not going to change your reality. They're not going to change the type of man that you choose to open your legs with. They're not going to change the type of man that you choose to have a child with, that never marries you, these things won't change. The high standards that you somehow magically want to have after you followed none is not going to give you the man that you think you deserve. And that's why I say they're the least attractive, because it's very unattractive and it's very insulting when females talk about these high standards. Meanwhile, you have none. Meanwhile, all you do is complain about the same men that you let clap your cheeks. They love to talk about high standards. Where's the man? And you have the high standards and you still complain about the man. Clearly, these high standards don't exist and aren't getting you nowhere. So yes. And one last thing, my YouTube channel is Remnant Princess. That's the channel. It's called Remnant Princess. So definitely check it out on YouTube. And want to give one more shout out to Bethany. I see you. Thank you. I saw you on YouTube as well, under the comments. So thank you. I appreciate your support. And yeah, definitely check it out. And thank you. All right. Have a good day and have a good night. Bye. And thank you to everyone on YouTube as well. Have a good day and have a good night as well. Thank you. Bye.